the meeting.
She's got.
All right, again, meeting will now come to order. We're going to go over the agenda tonight, one at a time, see if there's any questions. First one, Penfield Crescent.
Nope.
Yep, okay. Number 2, 127 Brentwood. That's it, yes. It is. Those are both addresses.
Just
Still
nothing.
Okay. 3.
Nope.
No.
Okay. Wow, good. 4.
That's
4's pulled, all right.
0.1 tenth of a foot.
4's been pulled.
4's been pulled, yes.
Yeah.
And 5 is pulled.
And
5
so
is
5.
Okay.
We'll have to let the public know that as we
Yes.
move
Yeah.
forward the public.
Danny will announce it probably.
All right, 6, the dog thing on Penfield Road.
So here's my question about that. There was a variance granted for the property next door for a setback, and I cannot find it in the notes.
I can't either, and
That's
I looked as well.
2014.
Correct.
My notes, I didn't keep anything that far back.
You're talking about the doctor.
Well, I
The
went
doctor
back.
next door, we did the same thing for a sign right
Yeah.
next door, I mean, literally the parcel right next
Yes.
door,
Right.
so,
Right.
So I went back to the notes, I went back to the, like the,
on the web.
yeah, I couldn't, there was not, it wasn't.
Not all the minutes are always posted back.
No, they're there.
Are they?
Yeah.
But it
they're
doesn't
there.
give them out?
No. And I
Just
looked,
says the fact that it was
Doesn't give the
granted.
amount of variance.
right, which is really what I was looking for.
Wow.
Yeah.
We don't have the
And
resolution.
I've got to dig into
I
it.
looked at the resolution, it's not there.
If you're having problems with like distances, you can use the reference no closer than the doctor's sign.
So I
because
think
if
I
we
might-
granted that one,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Right, that, yeah, that'd be the way I would look at it too.
Okay.
More
Okay, I mean, just to
importantly,
help you out a little bit on that.
Thank
You don't
you.
have the exact.
that's the Torpy
footage.
sign there.
No closer than the,
Oh, yeah.
But I have the
But
other.
then you still have to have it determined, I would think. You still want to put a,
Yeah.
you still want to quantify
To
it.
be TBD.
Yeah.
But we'll do the measuring on that.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
took a
saying.
picture of the other sign though. And I think it's part of your application anyways, but I just went out and took a look at it just out of curiosity. Town planning.
The doctor's one?
Well, the doctor's right.
The one next to it though. Did I just get it?
Yeah,
Well, there's one,
that's
there's
the
one
family
on their
medicine.
property,
And that's the doc, right. and so
but
that's
they
what's
don't
in the
want that one, I
application.
don't think.
does it-
Well, there's currently an existing sign that is closer to the setback than required, and that was obviously granted a permit many
Yeah,
years
you're
ago.
talking about on their property.
On their
If
property.
you look at the property, it's to the right.
And the sign is a little bit closer, or a little bit further away than the Torpy sign is.
Okay.
And I think they're asking to be aligned with the Torpy sign.
Yeah. Which was,
Whatever.
The
yeah,
sign,
amount that was.
the sign that they're looking for is a 10 square foot sign, which is half of what
Yeah,
they're
it's
entitled to
smaller.
by
Yeah.
code.
Right,
So,
right.
but I mean, if we, we always give everything in foot and exact measurements.
And I
So
think-
if we say level
So-
with the Torpy sign, you can go out and measure it later.
Was
right?
that done
We have
already?
options.
Is that how you got the 10 foot?
That's what they're asking
That's
for.
what
is
they're
10.
asking.
So, no,
I will-
what I'm saying is if they wanted to line it up, did somebody from the town measure
I
what that
haven't been out
was?
there yet to look to do the measuring.
So we would say basically no closer than the setback for the property next
Right.
door.
Variance next door,
Okay.
yeah.
Great.
To be determined later by staff.
Yep.
Oh, that's just, here, that's the same thing here.
All right, 7. Empire Boulevard.
No, that's-
That's Danny's
Yep.
piece here, by the way. Yeah, you can see them.
Okay. All right, eyesight, Penfield Road.
Just one thing I made note of in the eyesight app, they had asked for 3 signs.
And one of them, we cannot,
One of them, the board does not have jurisdiction over based on the fact that it's on town property.
Number
The town board
one.
would have to review and
would be
determine.
number 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I'm doing that one too.
all right. You're the lead on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
could be a
I-
conflict.
Gotcha, okay. Yep. All right, Fairport, 9 Mile Point, Don's Original at 10.
Nope.
no,
Just so you know, they've had legal permits to have the ton up. They're running out of their ability to have permits, so they've asked for approval from the board to keep it up during the summer months.
And no
Okay.
real change in what's up there.
Nothing, it's exactly what they
And
want.
now, if we grant this is permanently for
Yes, I,
Still
for
seasonal,
him,
right?
whatever, for that
Right.
restaurant, whatever.
Right.
Would it
Or-
run with a new restaurant?
no, you could keep it as a condition that
Yeah,
it
okay.
expire at the time that the restaurant
Okay.
closes down. And
Good.
somebody else can come in and apply for it again if they want.
and I know John is coming tonight, he mentioned the possibility of music.
Yeah, and then we're just going over the,
Okay.
Is that all you're doing? Okay.
nothing important.
Okay, the building on Old Penfield Road,
Yes, this is a situation where they're currently involved in a brownfield remediation program. One of the conditions that they're going to have to deal with is the fact that the DEC will not allow them to build a building any bigger, or they've got to meet the pad that's out
Has to
there
be on
today.
the same footprint.
And the problem is that the old ordinance required them to have 3 spaces less than what the new ordinance requires. They had 26, now they need 29. They can't give up green space because there's barely any on the site to begin with, so they're asking for the 3 variances, the 3.
Would that fall under pre-existing?
It
I mean,
doesn't.
since it can't change, the footprint can't.
Well, the problem is the building's down, and there's a new structure going up, so I mean, there could have been nuances when we started the
Here's my
process.
question, Jim. Is it possible for them to ask for a reduction in the size of the parking spaces and get the required amount?
They are. They actually are. They're going 9 by 18. The old spaces were 9 by 20, so they're still.
So they're already doing that, and they're
underneath,
still
yeah.
3 short?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, just for clarification, that's that we're in the Dropbox say 6, a variance of 6 spaces, but it's
I see
3?
3.
I believe it's.
I saw
believe
6
it's
somewhere
3.
as well.
I
Okay.
think it's 3, but you'll have to verify that with the
Yeah.
Okay.
application.
So, Kaz, how about if they are required to not go outside of the current footprint, because could they make it smaller? And therefore need less,
They could,
fewer
but I'm not
spots?
so, you gotta remember, they're spending money on the site to
Oh,
remediate,
I know that, but I
You
just,
can talk to them about it, but
Okay.
I think you're gonna
I
find.
just don't know if,
The other thing you should understand also is, I just realized that the planning board has approved this. They approved this
Oh.
on the 25th, so it's subject to you granting variances. If you don't grant them, they're gonna have to go back to the plan.
Now, if they're building on a slab, so
Right.
if they went to cut it down to get more spaces, they would probably be intruding on that,
The brownfield.
the ground field, and you can't do that. So I
That's
don't
the
think
problem.
they can touch the
It's
slab.
a unique
I don't understand.
circumstance.
Do we know the
Well, you
use of the
can't dig
building?
there
It's an
at all.
office.
no,
Be an
no,
office
that's not
building?
what I'm saying.
Oh, what, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering, obviously, the use of the building would have an impact on the number of spaces reasonably that they could get away with.
Yeah, it's gonna be an office
Oh,
space.
Yeah. We can move on. I have my answer.
That you want to add to, that was a type 1 action, and the planning board already handled the seeker, I believe, on that one. So
That's correct.
in connection with its approval resolution, so you wouldn't need to deal with that.
Type
On the
1.
seeker side,
Type 1
it's
and
already
type
taken
2.
care of. But it's already done.
It's done, yeah. Okay.
This lead agency, the planning board, already issued it next day.
Yep. Okay, Burlington Coat, 11,
They're asking for 2 signs on the building.
yep.
And they're just going into part of the building, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
The building will have 5 tenants within all.
Okay,
And they're like in the middle of it.
Right.
Like, okay.
Right.
So with the, so I was curious, is the ladies, men's, kids, is that a separate sign? That's not, is it?
It's part of their sign
Yeah,
package.
part of their sign
That's what
package.
they're asking for.
Okay.
And they're gonna make a claim that that's part of their name, their corporate name now.
Okay.
Are we gonna have the
So-
same argument? I'm sorry.
No, so they're saying it should be treated as one sign.
Right.
We're gonna
They're
have the
asking
same
for 2 of
argument when
those,
the other 2 tenants come in? We're gonna have 2 double signs on it?
Potentially the whole row of tenants where the wine is too.
Right.
The big issue is, for them, is the fact that they will be facing out into the parking lot of the old
Right.
Walmart
Right.
building. 2 of the other tenants will be facing towards the new Walmart. So they're saying they'll have more visibility than the entrance to Burlington.
Okay.
Is anybody here on that
So
application?
the other one's face north? Yeah.
So are you aware of Paul's situation? Are you Alan?
Yes,
Okay. See, Paul sent me a text earlier, so,
had a little family emergency.
Yes.
I'm pinch hitting.
okay. Well, I will tell you that if at any point you feel that you don't possess the information because you're pitch hitting and you want to request tabling, just let us know, okay?
Understood, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, so that does it for the applications before us, and Dan, I think you're aware of the fact that 2 of the applications have been withdrawn,
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Not aware of that. I am now, though. 4 and 5 were withdrawn, huh?
4 happened yesterday, and 5 happened.
Yep, okay, we can talk about why later, I suppose.
Yep.
Maybe at midnight.
Looking at some
Won't be that long of a time.
I won't be.
I move we do it sooner.
Okay,
We can talk briefly about some of the tabled applications if you'd like.
absolutely, we have
let's do
still
that.
have plenty of time.
We have Mr. Fantuzzo here this evening, and for the first application, and what's occurred since the last time we met with Mr. Fantuzzo and Mr. McMahon and I'm going to pass these out to the board, is that we made Mr. Fantuzzo and his staff aware of the board's concern. Obviously, you made them aware of your concerns for the size of the building. All right. And we met with them shortly after our meeting here.
And you got, here.
No, well, you...
I can look on my,
I'm all right.
And I think in their attempt to try and minimize some of the variance requests, they've come back with the second plan. The original plan had a 50 by 52 square foot building on it. They are now reducing that down to 46 by 46. The variances, as you remember, on the south side would have been 3 foot, now they're going to 5 feet. The one in the back or to the rear of the building, adjacent to the residence, was at 10 feet, now they're going to, I believe, 14.55 feet. Now, the reason I bring this up to you is because they've still got to go to the planning board, and they're looking for input from you as to whether that's a reasonable reduction, or if you're looking for more reduction before they make the effort to go to the planning board for a public hearing.
All right, so...
It was 50 by 50, the most
50
recent
by
one prior to this?
52, I believe it was.
50 by 52.
Memo says 50 by 51, but that's close.
Okay.
I do have a larger plan for you if you want to
That was
see
the
that.
first one.
I just, what I want to make clear in my mind anyway is, so factually, what we have now is we have the size of the garage / apartment building has been shrunk, as you just said, Jim. And make clear for us, if you would, the effect of that on the variance requests.
As I said, the variance requests originally were 3 feet from the property line on the south and 10 feet from the property line to the west, which is the residential property.
Okay.
They are now at 5 feet from the south property line, but in the commercial property, and then 14.55 feet.
Wait,
from the-
so, and what I'm getting confused
2
on
feet.
is distance versus variance.
I'm sorry.
He's
they-
talking
they-
setback, I think.
That's right, that's what I
I'm
want.
sorry, the setback would now be 5 feet.
okay.
As opposed
Which
to
needs a
3 back.
15-foot
It
variance.
sounded like they need a larger
No, they need a
variance.
15-foot
Yeah,
variance.
that's what I wasn't getting.
Versus
Shrunk the building, so the
7
variance
17 foot.
request has been reduced.
Right, and remember now that first variance, or the first setback where the existing building is now is substantially less than even a foot, so. The last time they came in, they were asking for a 3-foot variance, a 3-foot setback with a 17-foot variance. They're now asking for a 5-foot setback with a 15-foot variance. To the rear, they were asking initially 10 feet, which would require a 20-foot variance, and now they're at 14.55, which requires a 15.46 variance.
Okay.
You know, just by looking at this house, I mean, I really got a question. Not the one he wants to build, but the one that's on a lot. That's gotta be, if it was a house before, like a 4 or 5 bedroom home. Right? I mean.
The existing office space that you're talking
Yeah.
about?
You know, the building itself. I mean, I see 3 windows on the right side, 2 in the front,
Well, he could answer that for you. He was there when
you know?
before it was rehabbed. so.
It's gotta be 3 or 4 bedrooms.
The existing building is a pre-existing condition that's going to stay in place, so that's
Yeah,
not,
no, I
that's not an
understand
issue.
that, but we're talking about what it looks like on a lot. I
Right.
mean, if you want to build two-family homes for crying out loud, or two-story homes on the thing,
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's looks, and it's also lot coverage, and it's,
Yep.
you know?
So it's a reduction in space of footprint of about 500 square feet.
Man, it's a lot of stuff.
He's still trying to maintain a 4-car garage.
Okay. And I'm sorry, what did you say about the planning board is looking for us?
Well, they have not applied to the planning board. I guess they have applied to the planning board, but before the public hearing takes place, which will be sometime in July, I believe, the planning board's looking for input from you as to determine whether or not you're comfortable with the reduction or if you're looking for more reduction.
Okay.
I mean, he's, yeah, there you are. Why 4-car garage? Just because you're putting it underneath the house that you're building on top of?
My current garage where I live, where I'm...
You guys want to come up here?
Sure.
If there's room?
Currently, the property has a 4-car garage on it. Has 2 doors and they're 2 deep. We're basically doubling that. That's right now already there. There's a 2-car garage, there are two car doors that are 2 deep right now. We're just doubling that where I currently live, I have a 4-car garage that I squeeze 5 cars in. And by shrinking this anymore, I brought a print to show you that the upstairs apartment slash house for us is gonna be probably 1,200 square feet, because I thought 46 by 46 meant 46 by 46 upstairs, but it doesn't, because once you start going in, you lose a lot. So making it any smaller, it would be almost impossible. And again, you said something earlier, I overheard you about why 2 buildings on 1 lot. It's basically, I'm just making the garage double the size it is now. That's all it is. If you go by it right now, just visualize a garage next to it. And there's plenty of room, and this here would be facing Rossman. It's probably one of the most beautiful houses on that street when it's done. It'll look like a house on Rossman.
It shows the dimensions.
Do you know what the square footage of the apartment would have been originally before?
We were shooting for 2,000 square feet.
Well, that's what you're shooting for, Sam, but I mean, now knowing how you lose space, do you know what it actually was?
It was going to be 50 by 50 is...
Well, yeah, it was gonna be 2,500, and by the time you cut down for the eaves, so you were probably looking at a 2,000 square foot.
Okay. And that's what I'm getting at.
And now it's going to be
1,200, 1,300.
Well, no, with the reduction, you're going to be probably, let's say, roughly 1,500 square feet.
That, I was trying to get to the delta of the residents now. We've heard about the building, but the actual residence has been reduced significantly as well.
Yes, by reducing the footprint.
Right. Okay.
In the 4th garage, we would have, obviously, the stairs would kind of go into that, so you wouldn't have like a full 1-car garage there.
Okay. Mike, you look like you have something.
No, I'm just trying to visualize what you're saying.
All right, so,
That's the,
unfortunately, go ahead. No.
that's the entrance then, right? What you're talking about, where the stairs?
Yes, sir.
The stairs will come up.
Paper on this at work. So I don't even... Do you guys have a date for planning board?
Yes, we're on for the 13th.
Okay. Is that 2 days before our next meeting?
It's earlier. Yeah, that's the 20th of July.
So it's like 10 days.
Some nice pictures.
So this is where the stairway goes up.
Existing is 18.
So what are, unfortunately, I left my paperwork from the original in my office, so I'm a little bit of a, could somebody, I just want to make sure I understand all the variance requests, not just these, and then we can talk about how people are feeling about them.
I'm sorry, I don't have the original paperwork either.
Kaz, can you, I don't have my original paperwork on. What I'm looking for is all the variance requests, even the ones that haven't been changed.
What's the size of the existing garage? Because this says 50 by 18. This looks like it says 36 by maybe 18 or 16.
It's 15 by 16 in some inches.
The existing garage is 15 by 16?
No, 50.
Oh, 50.
50
By 16.
by about, yeah. it
60
looks-
and change, yeah, that,
Yeah. I can't quite read the small digits on
Yeah.
that, but.
So, to recap your question, they're asking for, that's great. they're asking for the 3 setback variances, one from the rear property line, and now they're at 14.55 feet.
This,
So you subtract 30 from that, and that's the variance. They're on the south property line, they are at 5 feet, so you subtract 15, or from the 30, you get
yeah, I
15.
did give it back.
I'm sorry, you get 25.
No, we didn't.
No, I'm sorry, that's a side setback of 20 feet, so you get 15. Then they've got a setback from Rossman Drive of 20.79 feet, and they need an 80-foot setback from that property, which they probably couldn't keep in any case. And I believe there was also a
There was a coverage,
lot coverage
lot
requirement.
coverage which has been eliminated. Oh, that
And you do not meet the requirements.
Okay.
So going back to the Rossman, the way it is right now is not, there's got to be a variance on that, right?
Yes, and they probably would have had to in any case because
Yeah.
the lot's not wide enough to support
Right, okay,
80-foot.
okay.
Either a variance or pre-existing?
Well, it's pre-existing for the existing residents. It's not pre-existing for a new structure that's going on site.
Right.
So
Right.
That's an expansion of the structure.
it's an expansion. It's not even an expansion. They now need a variance because they're tearing down the old building.
Okay, and I'm sorry, that request from Rossman was would you say 60?
They are 80 feet, 59.21 feet.
Would be the variance
That's right.
request. Okay, so that's all we have is 3 area variance requests.
Right.
What about the conditional use permit?
The conditional use permit would be part of the process of having a mixed use for the garage and the home and the apartment.
Okay,
They did receive a conditional use permit for the office space from the planning board, I believe, or they will, by the time they come in.
Something for 2 structures?
Do we need something for 2 structures?
Well,
It's not
residential though.
well, it's a mixed use, which is a conditionally permitted use within the district. The planning board could also ask, they could deal with that issue as well. All you're really looking at is the variances at this point in time. You do
Okay.
not need to deal with it.
so the way it was advertised, it's,
No, I think unless they advertise it for the planning board to have the conditional use permit addressed with the,
I haven't seen
all right, so you would have to, I think you'll probably have to deal with the conditional
Usually
use
it's
permit.
whatever board hears it first gets the conditional use permit, which is probably why you guys have it.
Right,
But sometimes the planning board can handle something like that.
exactly. And they're probably going to have to deal with the office space as part of the plan, as part of the review, so.
all right, so what, and I'm going from the tabled application there, it says a conditional use permit under chapter 250, and then it cites article Roman numeral
Right.
12, 13.3, is that the
And
mixed
that was
use?
Mixed use, yeah.
And then it says also article Roman numeral 5, 5.6, capital C, 1C,
That's for the variances.
really?
Well, the only thing you're at, well, is that possibly could have been the original request for less green space or less open space.
Okay,
That would come off the application.
all right.
So going back to Pete's comment, certainly you're not going to be the lead agency on this, the planning board will be. So you're not going to do anything with the application but table it again. But the planning board is going to ask for some input as to what you
All right.
feel regarding.
So
the size
we're
of the
looking
building.
tonight, table, but give planning board our
That's
comments.
right.
All right, well, I'll start in terms of, this is, in my opinion, squeezing a lot on a property. Having said that, I would be in favor of these variance requests. Why? Because I think it enhances the property. I think the effect of the variance requests on the neighborhood in the grand scheme of things is not going to be so detrimental that it would tilt me in favor of opposing these. Conditional use permit with mixed use in that area, it's a commercial and a residential area kind of mixed, so I don't have a problem with that either. Having said all that, that's why I started my comments by saying I recognize this is a lot and a big building on a corner. So that's just one man's opinion.
So when this came up, was it last time, was it the planning board or at the zoning board, when meeting I wasn't at, they had a number of residents speak to this project, and while there was concern about drainage, there didn't seem to be concern about size.
To the extent that couple folks were worried about blocking a view onto Empire, which,
I think they were worried about, actually, I think they were worried about seeing the lights from Empire.
yeah.
They were.
And if you take
And
this
this would
building, that we thought that, yeah, I remember our reaction was it would actually
Block that.
enhance their
Right.
concern, or their
Their shielding of the lights.
situation, yes.
But that's what I recall. It wasn't
Yeah.
in a negative, it was in a potential positive.
There was concern about the parking and pulling out and the safety of the,
Okay, okay.
which to me is a planning board issue.
How does the rest of the board feel?
I mean, I more or less would echo what you said. I think it's a lot down there.
Yeah.
Given that, I don't think it's enough to make me want to say that it's not reasonable, yeah.
I mean, I
There's
think,
another structure on, I'm sorry.
no, go, Mike.
There's another structure on there already they're gonna knock down. Obviously, this is gonna be bigger, but it's also blended into the existing structure. I just think there's not enough here to make me want to say no.
And let me jump in again, even though I kind of already used my time, but I'll steal some from Anders. Is if the planning board can find a way to reduce the variance request, working with the applicant even more, that would, obviously, there would be a thumbs up there, but.
I mean, already it's 484 square that's been decreased, which is actually quite a bit. I wouldn't have expected that much to be dropped off of it.
Yeah, and that's really without a heck of a lot of meetings with the planning board, too, so.
And I guess that was my comment when Andrew said, they've already reduced it significantly.
All right, that being the case, would the board like to direct me to prepare a memo to the planning board expressing your concerns or your thoughts regarding the application? So they have some input from you before they move forward? And then once they make the decision, whatever that would be, the board would come, it will come back to this board for the conditional use permit and the variance request to be addressed.
Yeah, because they certainly won't allow it to be larger.
No, no.
Anything they do would probably be an improvement.
Okay. I'll prepare that and we'll get it out to take a look at it if it is necessary. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask the board to continue to table it, so I need a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, you heard what you heard, I think, but nothing's over till it's over,
Right.
okay?
Yep. Understand. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
All right. The second matter is, we don't have time.
Well, we can start the public hearings late if we think that's appropriate. I don't, if we can get, can't we get something quick?
Well, I will tell you, for B and C, I'm going to request that you continue to table it. The applicants are working towards,
2 and 3 on table?
would be 2775 Penfield Road, Mr. Haganovich.
I'll move, we table that for next meeting.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
and I'll move that we table number 3.
I'll second it.
Wait a minute.
Haganovich, they're working
Parking lot
on
extension.
Andres tabled,
Andres, and then Mike seconded.
No, I made a motion.
then Mike moved.
I moved, Joe
Joe
seconded.
seconded.
And we're all about to say yes.
And then we've got the poll.
And I can,
Well, we didn't say yes yet.
Oh,
I
I'm
just want to make sure she's ready.
I got it.
You got it, all right? All those in favor?
Aye.
The poll, are you going to make a motion to
I
approve
can-
that?
yes, I
Well,
can.
let's wait till after that, because is anybody here on that one?
The Verizon?
No, he's not.
The Verizon poll?
Nobody is here for that.
All right, well, then we can wait till after. Let's, anybody need a break? Yeah, let's, 2 minutes, we'll start the public hearing.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Penfield Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight's meeting is going to take place in 2 parts. The first part will be our public hearings. We will ask the applicant to come up to that podium there and give us name and address, and then explain to the board members why the relief requested should be granted. After the applicant is done with the presentation, board members will likely have some questions. And then we'll ask anyone in the audience that cares to come up and speak about the application to do the same thing. Come up to the podium and give us name and address, and then talk about the application. Once the public hearings are adjourned, we'll take a brief recess, and we'll reconvene in the back of the room to deliberate on the applications and take care of any other business the board may have. Members of the public are welcome at both the public hearings and the deliberations, although generally speaking, the deliberations are times reserved for communication amongst board members with staff, and sometimes with our council. Have a fairly long agenda tonight, but as I said, you're welcome to stay. If you want to go home, but you're curious as to what action the board took on a particular item, you can call tomorrow and find that out. Every month, I like to explain, and my fellow board members, I think, agree with me, that the town, we think, does a really good job of notifying people that live in the area of applications that the applications are going to be heard. And the town does that so that neighbors come in and speak about the applications. Town does that by requiring applicants to put up the signs. We've all seen them in front of the property. By sending neighbors postcards. If you live within a certain number of feet, 500 feet, you're going to get a postcard letting you know the application's going to be heard. It's on the internet, and I still think, I say this every month, and I should just ask, do we still post it on the bulletin board out in town hall, the agendas? Yes, we do. The answer is yes. So that's a lot of ways to inform people of their rights. We think it works well. And having said that, I ask everyone to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I understand a couple applications have been withdrawn. I think that's application number 4, Connie Aldridge, and application number 5, Ann Gable. If anybody's here on either of those, please note they have been adjourned and won't be heard tonight, or withdrawn, actually. That's right. And won't be heard tonight. So may we have the first application, please, Jim?
Yes, Kirk James, 127 Penfield Crescent, Rochester, New York, 14625. Request an area variance from Chapter 250, Article 5-1-F12 of the code to allow the construction of a second storage shed at 127 Penfield Crescent. Property is owned by Balkrishma and Sivardi Venkatesh. I hope I did that right. And zoned R120, SBL number 138.06-3-14, application number 17Z-0030.
First, let me clarify that we bought the property last year. The Venkatesh's have moved. The records just haven't caught up yet. On the property in the back...
Excuse me, could you repeat your name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Kirk Janes, and I'm at 127 Penfield Crescent, Rochester, New York, 14625. In the back of the property, there is a small shed just into the wooded area, and it's not large enough for our needs. So I'd like to place another shed, a larger one, nearby, and rather than just knock down the old shed, it would be nice to be able to keep it so I have some room to work in the new one. And the new one would be located also in the back of the cleared part of the lot anyway. We own over the hill, there's woods behind us. The only people that would even see it are probably the neighbors right next to us. And I've already asked if there's any complaints there, and she said none.
How big is the existing shed?
It's 8 by 12,
8 by 12. And the proposed shed that you'd like to put in there?
12 by 16.
12 by 16. Can you talk about how you chose the size of the new shed versus a larger shed or a smaller shed?
Well, I chose it based on the requirements by the town as far as the limitations. I just wanted a large enough shed for both for storage and to have a work area.
Would you consider like a 12 by 22 shed and then taking down the other one?
I had considered that, but I thought it would be easier to get by with something that already meets the limitations of the town.
In what way would it meet the limitations?
Well, I mean, if you look in the code, it says what the maximum size is and the, the dimensions and the height.
Right.
And
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah, because you're right now allowed, I think because you're on 0.63 acres, so that gives you 273 square feet, I think, approximately, that you're allowed, which is basically 1% of your lot size. So that would allow you to have up to a little over 12 by 22, maybe a 12 by 23 foot shed you could actually fit on that site. So if the old one came down, you could put a much larger shed there that would probably be pretty darn close to the same size you have right now, and maybe even be more useful in terms of size-wise, because then you wouldn't be constrained by 14-foot walls.
well,
Just something to consider. Did you consider any other means in terms of an addition to the back of your garage or things like that for storage?
no, it's not feasible with the outline of the garage and the house. The garage is integral to the house. There's nothing behind it. I mean, there's house behind it.
Right, okay. And the placement, the existing shed is kind of back in the woods a little bit. Would the new shed also be in the woods?
It would
that you're
be just
proposing?
in front of the woods.
Okay, so that would be out more in the clearing in front of it,
A
closer to
little
the
bit
house?
more, yes.
Okay.
By 10, 12 feet,
Okay.
probably.
And where the existing one sits now, I noticed on the survey, it showed, I think it mentioned, some kind of mention that it would be relocated to this spot. What
Well,
does that actually mean?
No, it's not. The existing tape map is incorrect
Okay.
for the position of the shed. So my paperwork I submitted showed the true position of the existing shed and then where I'd like the new one.
Okay, so where it sits right now is where it's going to say that old one won't relocate?
Correct.
Okay. And the new shed, approximately how tall would it be that you're proposing? About the same height as the existing one?
A little taller than
Little
that. I don't know whether I have those dimensions here or not.
And while you're looking, rather than make the existing shed alone, why not just expand the existing shed? In a sense, put an addition on it, or, double the size of it?
Well, the existing shed is very old.
Okay,
And it's in usable shape, but it's not in great shape.
okay.
Yeah, I guess I don't have the height here. I don't know whether it was on any of the paperwork I submitted, but that also was within the limitations that I saw for the building permits
Okay.
for sheds. It's like 12 feet or something.
And you said you've approached your neighbors already, and they're
I
not...
did approach the neighbor on one side that has a clear view of it.
Okay.
There are woods blocking it from the neighbor on the other side.
Correct. And that's all I have right now.
What would you be using the space for?
Well, storage, and also I like to work on things, woodworking, and also repairing lawn equipment, and just whatever. Say if we're putting a new floor down in the house or something, I go out there to cut the pieces rather than making a mess in the house. I'm a tinkerer.
Okay, so what would you store that you have right now, and
Well,
where are you
excess
storing that?
lawn equipment, lawn chairs, tables,
Where's all that stuff now?
in the garage.
Okay,
Doesn't leave much room for the cars.
okay,
And then there's in the existing shed, I've got the riding lawnmower and a push mower and some other lawn equipment crammed in there, but it's not really suitable
okay.
for everything.
Well, you heard one of the things that Andres was saying, and I sort of want to elaborate a little bit on that. One of the constraints that we have as a board is if we grant variances, then they run with the land, which means the person who comes after you and then the person that comes after that person all will get the benefit of this variance, whether or not they have the same storage needs. So that requires us to be very cautious before we grant variances if there are other feasible and viable alternatives. That's one of the reasons, I think, that Andres asked you about, hey, what about the possibility of building a bigger shed and taking the smaller one down? You probably haven't even
price that?
Well, I did early on. It was a lot more money, of course.
Compared to the one you're proposing, the 16 by 12? A 12 by 22, do you, which seems to be about the max that you would be allowed.
I would have to go through and get a quote for a similar shed in the larger size. I don't really know how much more.
And that's fair, because you probably didn't anticipate being asked the questions, but the fewer variances we grant, the better, as a general rule, and the smaller ones we grant, as you may have heard earlier on another matter, that those are sort of the rules that we're bound by. And we, of course, are given flexibility to grant them, and so to a certain extent, we're being a little bit, we're asking you things you probably didn't anticipate asking, and I understand that. But it would be nice for us to know how much more of an effort, so to speak, it would be for you to try to comply by building a larger shed and taking the one that you've described as old and et cetera, taking that down. Now, you may come back and say, well, it's going to cost me $1,000 to take the old one down, and it's going to cost me $3,000 more to build a new, bigger one, and that's not economically feasible or desirable. That would be information that we don't have now that may help us make our decision on your current request. So,
And you said that due to the lot size, 16 by 20 would be acceptable?
You can have, from what I see, 273 square feet. I think Jim can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you can have. So you could actually be a little bit bigger than 12 by 22 even. I think 12 by 23 would even still be less.
Okay.
Or a different configuration of that square footage. You know, it could be wider and a little bit shorter.
and another factor that we often consider is whether similar variances have been requested in nearby properties. And I don't know that. And granted, thank you, good point. And I don't know if that's the case here or not, and I don't know if you have any information.
Well, I don't. And most of the lots are configured so you can't really see behind them without trespassing, which isn't
don't do
something
that.
I would do.
No.
I did notice there was one a few houses down that appears to have 2 accessory buildings.
Okay.
Whether or not that was granted or the rules have changed since it was built, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Jim, are you able to speak to any knowledge of what the
I've been
town's?
here for 37 years, and I've been with this board for 17 years of the 37, and of course, I've been working with the town in other areas, but I cannot remember us granting 2 sheds on a property less than 5 acres. And when you get to the 5-acre requirement, now you get into an agricultural component, which allows you to do certain things that you can't do. I'm in the same situation you are. I've about the same amount of property, but nobody has 2 sheds legally that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So you can see it'd be a new ground for us, so to speak, so, okay.
I actually wish I had met you before you made your application. I would have kind of given you this information and probably followed through with what Andres is saying to you about getting a larger building.
Yeah. Well,
especially
I didn't even
if the
consider
existing
it 'cause
shed is not, I mean, if it's old and it's not in great shape, at some point in time in the next few years, you may have to replace it anyways. So it might be to your advantage to get a larger building. And this is kind of a new rule, actually. This just came into effect.
With the new code,
At
yeah.
one time, you were only been allowed to have a 192 square foot shed.
Okay, and that's what I was going by.
And
That's
now,
why I didn't even.
and we've raised it because of these kinds of situations. So you are entitled to have a larger shed now because of the acreage you have on your property.
Okay.
Anything else from the board? No?
I thought maybe just a question, would you be amenable to a motion to table if that's what the board wants to do to allow you to explore other options?
Sure, I could find out tonight probably what it would cost for a larger shed and to remove the existing one, see if that's feasible. Because, like I said, I didn't really entertain that option because I thought it was too big to be allowed.
Right.
Another
The code
thing
did
too.
change recently, as they've cited.
But it would be another month before you even get your decision.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can fit a 12 by 23 shed and not even have to have any kind of decision from this board. Legally, you can have that if you took down the other one.
Okay.
And if I think you do that between now and, say, the next meeting or intend to, just let us know if we do table it, and we'll just cancel it.
All right.
You could withdraw it.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm wondering, that the shed that I had ordered, it was being delivered in one piece with a 12 by 24 or whatever, 23. I don't know if they could deliver that. The area is not real big to get through between the houses. I'm not sure whether that would be an issue. I'd have to find that out. So if we tabled it and I decided to go with the larger shed and remove the existing one, would I still have to wait another month?
No?
No.
You would just withdraw and you'd be all set.
You could actually make an application tomorrow if you've got the materials.
Okay.
It's a difficult situation. I mean, you'd have to show such practical difficulty and such hardship
Yeah.
that I'm not sure you can do it. I mean, there are other ways to solve this problem without granting a variances. They're going to be hard pressed to approve something like
We're
that.
almost compelled not to do it.
Yeah.
You've got ways
you
to
know,
solve the
we
problem.
look for unique situations. It's sad to say, this is not a unique situation, it's just a situation that you want
Yeah.
more space, and hard to say, but everybody wants more space.
Well, and you're entitled to
Everybody would like to
it.
keep
That's the
their
problem.
existing
You're
shed.
entitled to it. We're willing to give it to you.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Anybody in the audience care to speak about this application? Okay, great.
If you want to call me tomorrow, I can talk to you about it in more detail.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Number 2,
Gregory Wunderlich, 14625, I'm sorry, there's no address associated with that.
Is it 127
It's
Brentwood?
got to be
127
127,
Yeah,
yeah.
Brentwood.
Brentwood Drive, Rochester, New York, Penfield, New York, 14526. Request, I don't have it, request conditions under Article, Chapter 250, Article 5-1F1 of the code to allow an existing storage shed with less side setback than permitted at 127 Brentwood Drive. Property is owned by Gregory Wunderlich and is zoned R120, SBL number 124.19-3-33, application number 17Z0033.
Good evening, members of the board.
hello.
Gregory Wenderlich, 127 Brentwood Drive. As stated, I'm requesting the variance. We recently purchased this property beginning of April, so about 3 months ago. And then I applied and received permits for building a new deck addition and a hot tub addition on the back. During the process of that, Andy discovered that the existing shed that I estimate to be about 10 or 15 years old on the property is currently set too close to the property line. So I wanted to go through first. I do have, this is along the north side of the property. There are a row solid hedge of arborvitaes lining this side of the property. So the shed is really not visible even from my neighbor to the north. I did speak with her, and she seemed to have no problem with it whatsoever. She said, yeah, it's been there for a long time, and couldn't even remember a time when it wasn't there, sort of thing. So I didn't believe that she has any issue with it, with that. So yeah, I'm requesting then I want to apply for the permit because there was never a permit issued for the shed, so I'm looking for this variance. I do have a fence on the inside that was ran sort of to where the existing shed was. So I have corner posts on either side of the shed so that it would be somewhat of a difficult thing to move. That was in my considerations upon this. I do have a giant tree on the land map. It shows the tree fort. So this is a very shallow root system, so I probably would have to move it to the south end of the property, which means I would probably have to deconstruct and then reconstruct, raising the cost significantly of moving it. So applying for the variance seemed like a better alternative, considering that I'm 4.9 off the north property line instead of the 10-foot. So it is, it's not right on the line.
Well done, you answered all my questions.
Let me pop in before. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
go ahead.
The agenda says conditional use permit.
Yeah, it's an area variance. I don't
Okay.
know why it came up with.
I thought maybe we were
No, we're not.
dealing with running with the land in
No, we're
in
not.
some other manner now.
No.
Go ahead, Andres.
Okay, let's see, so you're looking for a 4.9-foot, or it is setback that right now, which would be a variance for 5 foot, 1.5 inches or so, somewhere around there, I think is what you're looking for.
Correct.
You already said that it was there when you bought the property, so it's not like you put it there.
Correct.
The neighbor is screened from the arborvitae's next to it, so that's a,
She
not
is
a
correct.
concern from that side. Let's see. You talked about moving it, it's difficult because of, you can't just move it over a few feet because of the actual land that sits right now. You'd have to bring in backfill and fill in the land and then, or else move it to the other side
else
of the
move it, yes.
property.
Correct.
I have to tell you,
Yeah.
this is excellent cross-examination. Leading questions and yes or no answers, that's how it's supposed to be.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Perfect. Well, he's answered them all right, so I'm making sure.
Yeah.
He didn't hear you, that's all.
And that's it. That's all I have. Anybody else?
I just got one, I guess it's comment more than a question, is,
Sure.
you know, you went and got permits for the deck, and you're trying to do everything legal.
Yes.
And then we find out that this situation occurs through no fault of your own, okay? So, I mean, that goes a long way with me. That's to say, we've had people who come in, build it, and go, too
Yes,
bad. But
yes.
this is not the situation.
Yeah, I was trying to preemptively take care of this issue going forward so that,
Right, so that you have it with your property and no
Yes.
problem. So I commend you for
thank you.
stepping up.
Also a leading question.
I like those.
Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 3, Michael Zellmeyer, 130 Milford Crossing, Penfield, New York, 14526, requests an area variance from from Chapter 250, Article 5-1F1 of the code to allow a patio with less side setback than permitted at 130 Milford Crossing. The property is owned by Michael and Karen Zellmeyer and is zoned R120, SBL number 109.04-5-56, application number 17Z-0032.
Michael Xelmeyer, 130 Milford Crossing, looking to put a patio in the backyard. Since the house was built slightly infringing on the minimum 10-foot side yard setback, putting a patio that's flush with the house, which is the only aesthetically pleasing option out there, would violate that. So I'm asking for a variance for 1/10 of 1 foot at the point at which it connects to the house, and then due to the slight angle of the property line as you go along the northwest side, it would infringe by an additional couple inches.
Okay, so it says, do we have to develop all of those? We just have it as 1/10 of 1 foot?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's shown
So,
on this survey map.
In other words, we give exact kind of dimensions, but the survey map, he'll figure it out. So in other words, what you're saying is you put a semicircular, you want to put a patio in your backyard.
Correct.
That does not extend past your house, it just goes right to the edge of your house, right?
Correct.
Towards the backyard.
Correct.
And because of the contour of your lot, okay, which is at really a bad angle, which narrows at the back, you're in violation. Even though it's level with the house, it's in violation of the property line.
Correct.
Okay, so how much of the patio, you said the whole kind of side of it? I mean, even though it's a semicircle, it's a side of about how long?
How long does...
In other words,
how deep
from
does
the edge of your
patio go?
house to kind of where it starts to curve and then you're okay, how long is that patio, that little
Goodness.
edge?
It's a good question. I don't have the answer. I don't know. I've provided renderings of it so you can kind of see visually what it would look like, but as far as an
Do
actual...
you know how far the patio will extend out from the house at its, at the three-point line? It's like a three-point
Yeah.
line, right?
Boy, I'd be guessing, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm guessing too, I would say it would be 8 foot.
That would be my guess.
Okay, and so you're talking about 8 foot of 1/10 of 1 inch. Hard to believe. But how about lighting on your, are you going to put lighting on the patio?
Nothing installed in the patio itself. There is a back floodlight.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sliding glass door. It's a walkout basement. And then there's lighting from the deck as well. So it will be semi-illuminated. There's
Okay.
nothing that'll be built into the patio itself at this time, but down the road I may look at putting some solar lights or something like that around the perimeter.
Around the perimeter of it, okay. This is I guess I'm done. I guess that's what I'm saying, 1/10 of 1 foot.
Just a quick point, I mean, I think the reason that the town requires permits for patios, which are basically flush with the ground,
Yeah.
in and of themselves, you can't see it, is because things go on them, like tables and
Sure.
chairs.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not gonna have anything that's a foot from the edge of this thing, so it's, you know, it's minimus and it's not gonna have any visual impact, so.
I'll let the board know that we did talk to the lady from 126, which is most directly abutting the site, and most impacted, called, asked us about the application, and had no concern for it.
Probably as a result of receiving a postcard. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
4 is withdrawn, 5 is withdrawn, so number 6.
Nicholas Ostrowski, 2217 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, 14625. Requests a special permit under Chapter 250, Article 7-13 of the code to allow a freestanding sign with less front setback than permitted at 2217 Penfield Road. The property is owned by Janik Inc. and is zoned BNR, SBL number 140.1-2-9, application number 17Z-0028.
Good evening. Nicholas Ostrowski, 2217 Penfield Road. There's currently a sign frame on the property, was there when we bought the property back in January. I would like to move it closer to Penfield Road. I did get some measurements by myself, rough measurements of the signs in the area. Torpy's sign, which is the neighbor, is roughly 15 feet from the sidewalk. The sign directly across the street for 2214 through 2226 Penfield Road, which is the Smile Center and Rochester Regional Health, is 10 foot back from the sidewalk. I would like to be somewhere in that range, 10 foot to 15, to get better visual from Penfield Road for traffic.
Thanks for coming. So that was actually one of my questions, was exactly how much of a variance were you asking for?
As close as I can get. If I can be equal to the 10 feet that the sign directly across the street is, that would be great. I did speak with Joe earlier in the week, and he said more so in line with Torpy's because we're on the same side of the road. I look at it from the perspective of if we have vehicles parked in the lot, the sign where it sits now, the blacktop is 14 feet from the sidewalk. Even if we bump it up to the 15 feet, that sign is still behind vehicles. So anybody heading in the westbound direction might not be able to see the sign. We have had customers already that have missed the sign. Granted, there is one on the building, they still don't see it, so.
Do other signs next to you, like Torpy, have that same issue? Because I think they do.
They probably do,
Yeah,
probably do.
okay.
Because I know that they do have parking spots on the east side of their sign. So depending on the size of the vehicle that's there, yeah, I'm sure that they do.
Oh, okay. How will the sign be lit?
I don't think I'm going to light it just yet. It depends on finances, if I want to run electric out to it.
Okay.
Probably not. I might look into a solar option. Just, it's going to depend on finances at the time when I do move the sign.
Okay. And what kind of landscaping? Do you anticipate any landscaping around
No,
the sign? No
just the
landscape?
grass, probably, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so what you're talking about is that existing structure and then just moving it up?
I would probably use new materials. That is older, and it is falling
Yeah.
apart, but I would probably do something extremely similar to what is there.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's just 4x4s and probably plywood.
Okay. That was all the questions? That was it?
Yeah, I got some, Dan. Yeah, as we talked about, it was good that you went in the area and checked, like Torpy, Dr. Torpy's sign is 15 foot away. You found one across the street possibly 10 foot away. The problem with kind of comparing it to across the street is the town likes signs kind of to be the same distance on the same side of the road, you know what I mean?
On that
So-
note, the sign for Rochester Regional Health, they have their own standalone sign also in front of their facility. It's probably 40 feet away. It's a 3-lane exit entrance to that facility. Theirs is about 15 feet away. So in a matter of 35 feet, there's 2 signs that are 5 feet difference.
Right.
So,
But one may have been granted at
Yep.
10 foot,
Yep.
and then the other person said, well, we'll keep it back farther because it's a 3-way intersection.
Yep.
But you understand my point.
absolutely.
Kind of
Absolutely.
signs should be lined up, and there may be a touch of visual problem, but, I mean, it's hard to have signs staggered.
No, I agree with
Allowed
you.
Dr. Torpy a 15 foot, you want 10, then the gentleman next to you wants 5. So we start having cascading signs. But that's just the point that I'm bringing up, that's all.
So for the board's information and also for the applicant, and I think it's fine that you measured it from the sidewalk, but you've got to understand the sidewalk is not the right-of-way. The right-of-way is generally where the telephone poles are placed in front of the building. I did go out today to look at that for you. But I think, and I agree with you, looking at it, it's not a visible sign coming from the west. So if it were to be equal with Torpy's sign, I think that would give him a better advantage for visibility.
Yes, and moved up the hill is what you want to do, closer to your parking
I'm
lot.
thinking probably closer to the blacktop surface,
Absolutely,
yes.
because he's right.
So we may have to go out for you, and it doesn't preclude you from approving this tonight, but we may have to go out and get a final number from you from the telephone line.
Yeah, to be in line with
To be in line with
Dr.
the right of way.
Torpy's sign.
That's right. And we'll have to do his as well.
No problem.
Any other board questions? Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Number 7, Bruce E. Howlett, 112 East River Road, Avon, New York, 14414, requests a conditional use permit from Chapter 250, Article 6-5-6C1A of the Code to allow a sit-down restaurant at 1998 Empire Boulevard. Property is owned by Empire Park Management LLC and is zoned limited business. SBL number 093.02-1-12.002. Application number 17Z-0029.
Hi.
Good evening, guys. James Benjamin, 139 Christina Drive, North Chi-Line, 14514. I'm an operating partner.
I'm Gabe Antonucci, 509 Sycamore Street in East Rochester. I'm their architect, so I'm just going to speak on their behalf. Jim Benjamin, he introduced himself. Bruce Hollett's in the audience, just in case there's other questions that come up. So they're going to be the owners. So the intention is, this is at 1998 Empire Boulevard, so to orient yourselves, this is just north of Baytown Plaza. Just to the east is the new Walmart. So basically, they're looking for a variance. I believe it's zoned as LB, limited business right now. So they're looking for a sit-down restaurant. It's approximately 3,800 square feet, but they're only using about 1,800 square feet of the space. Used to be a daycare. It's been empty for a few years now, Child Time, and it's adjacent to a Canandaigua National Bank. So in the area, obviously, it's a heavy commercial area. There's a lot of restaurants in the area right across the entrance as they come in. I believe a Chili's is going up. There's a Napa Pizza on the plaza right next to it, and multiple restaurants across the street. And also, they've submitted for permit. They want to get construction underway. It's actually very minimal. They're not doing anything on the exterior other than signage, which they'll submit for down the road. But they're just doing some minimal demolition work on the interior and then new work to get the shop up to snuff.
Okay, can you give us a little bit about the proposed hours and seating? I know you've submitted plans and stuff, but...
Seating roughly about 32 people.
Okay.
32. Hours are 11 to 10 p.m. It's a pizza, wing, burger, sub, calzones, quesadillas, type of menu.
Do you think you'll have, now let me ask it this way, what percentage of the business do you hope will be sit-in, dine-in versus takeout?
I think it'll be predominantly takeout and delivery. I do expect some good dinner business through soccer and other sports in the area. It's family-oriented. There'll never be any alcohol.
Music, you gonna have any?
Not live music, no. We'll have piped-in music, I'm sure.
Okay, so...
A couple TVs.
One of the reasons I asked about the dine-in versus takeout is parking. You think there's gonna be adequate parking for, if you're having a good, vigorous takeout business, but then you're also filling the seats?
Yep, I still believe there's plenty of parking there for that type of restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, we've looked at that. There's also the paved area to the south of it. We can fit about 10 spaces. It's already paved, it's just not striped for some reason. So with that, there'll be close to 30 spaces for them. And based on the occupant load, I think that falls within the town requirement.
Okay. And is this, you mentioned the daycare.
Yeah.
There's daycare in the back of the lot, right?
Right, that's they moved to a separate
Right,
building.
and they're operating.
Jack and Jill were in.
Okay.
Yeah, Jack and Jill were in this
Because I thought I
space.
heard somebody say it
And
closed, and
it's
I'm
been
like,
about 5 years that
Yeah, they were in their
they've been
space.
empty.
Okay, but they're operating in the...
Right, they're in the separate building. now.
Okay,
Same parking lot.
Right.
all right, and no No traffic flow issues, because I know you got to go around to get to the ATM and that sort of thing. You don't anticipate any problem?
No, I don't anticipate anything.
Okay.
I don't believe it would be.
Any other questions from the board?
Just one, I mean, you know, certainly you're going to work with the fire marshal
Correct.
for your ANSO system if you need one, et cetera, to get all this, the permits.
It's in the works, and I've been in contact.
And then if you want, say it again, what your name is. You're finally getting TV time, you might as well.
Benji's Pizza and Grill.
There you go, okay? Coming soon.
Okay, nothing else?
Wait,
Oh,
wait,
go
wait,
ahead.
a couple questions. One was, are you planning on any outdoor seating at all?
At this point, no, we're not developing the outside.
Okay.
In
And
the
then,
future, we may come back and talk about that,
okay, thank you.
because there's an enclosed grass area, I know, if you know the property.
Well, that was my
And
next
then this,
question, was there some green space on the area?
There is green space, yeah,
It's not
And-
visible.
Well-
There's a stockade, wood stockade fence around it currently.
completely surrounding it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, with a gate.
So right now, no plans for the green space, but in the future, you may consider outdoor seating?
Right.
Are you responsible for maintaining that green space as part of your lease agreement?
As part of our lease, we are.
Okay.
So we've already cut it, and I know you might have been over there. We cut it earlier this week. It's all been, it's going to get all landscaped pretty.
Very good.
We'll take care of that.
Thank you.
Okay?
I have a quick general question, just in terms of the permit, just because they're under the gun, if this gets approved, how soon would they be able to pick up their permit?
Not that soon. We are currently several permits behind right now. We're bringing people in to help us get them done, but it's going to take a while.
So in terms of what they've submitted, they're still in line in that?
They're in the queue,
nothing-
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. And actually, we recommended that they did submit early so that you could do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Excellent.
But you are in the
And
queue.
Would we be able to get a demolition permit to at least start our work in there?
It's still a matter of issuance of the permit, and we're still reviewing other ones. You can come in and talk to us about it if you'd like, but it may take some time.
Can you give us a rough time frame?
Come in and see us, okay? Come in and visit us.
Okay.
Okay, anybody in the audience care to speak about this? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 8, Benjamin and Justice Verone, 2142 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, 14526. On behalf of Eyesight, requests special permit under Article
You don't have to leave.
10-12A
You want to vote?
and Chapter
No, they-
250, Article 10-12D of the code to allow 2 freestanding signs, one with less setback than permitted at 2142 Penfield Road. Property is owned by the 441 Realty Group LLC and is zoned BNR. SBL number 139.08-1-73, application number 17Z-0027.
Okay, anybody here in this application? Give him a minute or two.
You leaving too?
No. No, I just want to talk. My memo here, his, and I don't know if it's the format that I give a Japanese restaurant.
You got an old one.
Yeah, first draft or something.
Yeah, we
Okay.
had to revise it and then get down to it.
Well, no, it's
Actually, I
no big deal.
gave-
I'm just freaking out.
Yeah, just go right back. Okay. I guess we'll move along.
I think I gave you a second one, it was probably at the table.
Yeah, it's all right. I just want
I can go
to make
back.
sure I'm not crazy.
Here,
Didn't see him, Marie?
you're not crazy.
No, I did not see him.
All right, let's,
Hold it to the ending.
yeah, let's go to the next one.
All right.
We will certainly entertain it tonight, but
Application number 9, John and Karen Sip Road, 2055 Fairport 9 Mile Point Road, Penfield, New York, 14526, on behalf of Don's Original Restaurant. Request a conditional use permit under Chapter 250, I'm sorry, I'm still back in the old code. Under Chapter 250, Article 6-56C1A of the code, to allow the installation of a tent for seasonal outdoor dining at 2055 Fairport 9 Mile Point Road. Property is owned by B&R New York Realty LLC and is zoned limited business. SBL number 140.05-1-1.403, application number 17Z-0034.
Hi, John and Karen Cipro, 5 Glen Circle, Penfield, New York, 14526. We own Don's Original Restaurant and Pub, and we're here to ask the board tonight to allow us to have a tent over our patio during the warmer months from May 1st through September 30th, and also to allow us to have live music on the patio occasionally, acoustic type music, nothing crazy, just, low volume kind of music. And that's it.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, were you done? I
Yeah,
apologize.
I think so.
Okay. You've had the tent up before?
We have it up right now, actually, we have a
Yeah,
temporary
right now,
permit.
but have you had it up in previous years?
Yeah, we've gotten temporary permits in previous years.
Okay, so what you're here now for is kind of a long-term permit to keep it up, so this is not something first time and,
No, yeah, we'd like to be able to actually rent it for the season, get a better deal that way, and have it
Okay.
up. Don't have to keep taking it up and down.
yeah, and if I remember, there's heaters underneath it, correct?
We do have 2 portable heaters, propane heaters, that, provide a
So
little
you
bit of
think in September or maybe just before that, when would you turn them on, I guess? I'll put
The
it that
heaters?
way.
Oh,
Yeah.
we've used
had
them.
them on.
Yeah, we've used them.
Okay, so you're saying if it gets chilly, you just crank up the heaters and it makes it a lot more comfortable?
Yeah, they have a flame that shoots up too. They're kind of cool looking, so they kind of attract
It's
some
all enclosed in, I don't know if you've seen the.
Glass too.
Okay, so in other words, the fire marshal knows all about it, and
Yeah,
I'm
he's
sure
been out.
everything is copacetic that you did. You're not going to allow smoking under the tent?
No,
Are you?
because of
Okay.
the dining.
And are you limiting the amount of people that you're going to put under there when you have music?
Well, we have tables, so it'll still be seated.
Okay, so in other words, are you limiting the amount? In other words, if people come out and the tables are filled and people want to listen to the music, are they going to,
There's no.
are you going to
yeah,
have
there's-
standing room
There's no
out
standing
there?
room, yeah.
Okay,
Just-
so
And we
you
won't
already
be
have a
we won't
limit
be
to the amount of
removing the
people?
tables or anything, yeah.
Okay, and with the music, explain again the music.
Well, like, when I say occasional, we've only planned on doing one this whole summer. That would be
Okay.
July 1st, the night of the fireworks. And it's just 2 guys with guitars, the FOG.
That's how Woodstock started.
Well,
We don't
yeah,
plan to
probably.
get that big.
Yeah.
We don't even plan on doing it any other time this summer, so.
Okay,
yeah.
are you asking just for one time, or do you want to
Well,
be
we would
allowed
like
to
to
do
move it.
music if you so choose?
We would like to be allowed, and just,
Okay.
you know, if someone wants to have a birthday party, or somebody wants to do a special event, or whatever, we probably won't do it on a regular basis, like every Friday night or
No.
such.
So are you talking about unamplified?
They have small amplifiers,
Yeah.
but no drums, no electric guitars, no.
Well, I don't know if they're.
It's kind of similar to what you do
electrical.
inside. I think just this past week, there was a guy in there playing a guitar.
Yeah.
It's just
Inside, yeah.
Similar, right?
Yeah,
Right.
similar to that.
There's, I can't even tell you where the closest home is to our restaurant. It's got to be
Pembroke,
half a
I think.
mile.
Yeah. We've done live music outside before with special permits, temporary permits, and never had any complaints.
Okay, yeah, and that's all I was going to say to you. Even if we grant this, you still are responsible for the loudness and the music if somebody complains, okay?
Absolutely.
So, no problem. That's all I have.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to ask, is access going to be solely from inside and outside your restaurant proper? Or can you get in and out from the surrounding?
From the parking lot?
Yeah.
That's how
That's how
they
you
enter the
enter.
pub, so yes, they can enter from outside or inside. And there's 2 gates in the fenced area, which that was approved before, but they won't be hindered in any way by the tent, the gates in and out.
You serve alcohol under the tent?
Inside, yes, we don't have a bar outside,
No, but you are
But there are-
permitted by
Yep,
permit.
on the
by your
patio,
state
yeah.
permit to do that.
yes.
Is service going to be out, in and out, or people going to get their food?
No, we have table service out there.
Okay.
What about, if you mentioned it, lighting?
We have just Christmas lights
Okay,
out there, like the.
Okay, so
bulbs and
no,
stuff,
like,
and it's
spillage
sufficient.
anywhere, or-
No,
okay.
it's all just under the tent. It's
thank you.
sufficient enough lighting for the tent, but it doesn't go further.
And if there's any wind blowing debris, you would take care of it in the parking lot?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't like a dirty parking lot.
Anything else from the board? Anyone in the audience? Okay, folks, thank you very much.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.
Item number 10, Robert Kiefer, T.Y. Lynn International, 255 East Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14604. On behalf of Springs Land Company, requests an area variance from Article 7-7D of the code to allow less parking than permitted at 1600 Penfield Road. The property is owned by Springs Land Company LLC and is zoned general business. SBL number 123.20-2-47, application number 17Z-0037.
Good evening. Robert Kiefer, professional engineer with T.Y. Lin. Our offices are located at 255 East Avenue, and I'm representing the owners of the property this evening. Subject parcel is at 1600 Penfield Road. If longtime residents of Penfield will know that that was formerly a dry cleaner. It was demolished a number of years ago. It's been considered for redevelopment for various uses over the last 6, 8, 10 years. And currently there's an application that's been conditionally approved by the planning board to construct 40,571 square feet of office space on that site. That square footage corresponds exactly with the square footage of the former dry cleaner. The site is challenged in two somewhat conflicting ways. The entire property is within the 100-year floodplain, and therefore modification of the site that would result in the reduction in the volume of the floodplain is prohibited. And it's also a site that has been designated as contaminated by the DEC, and under a national federal cleanup program, the conditions of that restoration mitigation is that the disturbance to the site be the absolute minimum in order to accommodate redevelopment. So with that, we're trying to build a office building on exactly the same footprint as the dry cleaner, and we're going to use the parking area that existed for the dry cleaner. And if you lay that out with the traditional drive aisles and parking sizes, it yields 29 parking spaces when 35 are required. We do not believe that there is any viable alternatives to this, and therefore we're asking for a variance for less parking. If you've read through the letter of intent, I would just point out that the number of parking spaces that are being provided is consistent with many other local municipal codes, so we're not creating a situation where it's expected that there would be cars parking on the street or there would be congestion on the site that would be inappropriate or interfere with the easement savings and loan operation on the other side of the private drive or the daycare center that shares the private drive. We have not identified a way to accommodate the redevelopment, considering the size of the building and the amount of parking area. We have identified no alternative way of accomplishing this. We don't think that the variance is substantial. We think that the impact on the neighborhood is going to be positive. This has been an eyesore. It's been a chain-linked fence contained, almost demolished site for a number of years. There's been drainage problems associated with ponding water on the common driveway. We think that we're going to substantially enhance the appearance of the site and solve some of these drainage problems as part of this redevelopment. And the issue was not self-imposed. The regulations for water, for the floodplain, and the regulations for the DEC have put constraints on the way that it can be developed, and we're trying to do that within those constraints.
I take it you've already, you're using parking spaces at the minimum dimensions.
That's correct, we are.
Obviously. And any idea, it's going to be office use? Any idea how many tenants?
It's designed to be flexible such that there could be two. There's going to be a common entrance area, and you could go to the left or to the right, or if it was a single user for the 4,700 feet, it would just be a single foyer.
Would this be more or less like a professional office, like a doctor, dentist?
I do not believe it's going to be medical, but it is not leased up. I think it's more likely to be an insurance agent or something of that variety.
And you feel that the 29 spaces would be sufficient to accommodate the businesses?
We do feel that 29 is sufficient, and as I said, it's consistent with other parking codes in neighboring municipalities.
Okay. That's all I have.
Anything else from the board?
Yeah, Mike, just a correction. You said 29 is what? You don't want 29. I mean, you're trying to say...
They want 29.
29 is what's required.
No.
Actually, you want,
35 is required, we're proposing 29.
okay, it's written differently on my sheet. Okay, that's all right, no problem.
Is there any option for shared parking with the adjacent neighbor behind you? That parcel?
That has not been explored. We did not feel we had a need to do that. If a parking condition arose, I think that would be something that could be considered. This application has been before the planning board. The planning board granted conditional approval, one of the conditions being the granting of this variance, and several technical things, but the other issue being to formalize a maintenance agreement for the common drive for Eastman Savings alone, the daycare center, and for this office building.
Thanks. Anything else from the board? Anyone in the audience care to speak about this one? All right, thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
All right, item number 11, Paul M. Colucci, 1950 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road, Rochester, New York, 14623, on behalf of Burlington, requests a special permit under Chapter 250, Article 7-13C of the code to allow 2 building-mounted signs at 1900 Empire Boulevard. The property is owned by DeMarco Baytown Associates and is owned general business, SBL number 093.02-1-23.111, application number 17Z-0035. And, yeah, Alan.
Good evening. My name's Alan Rainbow, and I work for Baldwin Real Estate. Paul Colucci unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, so I am kind of filling in for Paul. I also have representatives from the sign company here as well that I just met, so if I need them, I engage their services. But again, I work for the DeMarco Group, and we are the owners of the Baytown Shopping Center, and we're appearing on behalf of Burlington Coat, who we have space under construction for them at Baytown Plaza. They're going to be occupying about 44,000 square feet this fall, and we're here to request on their behalf an area variance for some additional signage. They would like to have a second sign installed on the facade of the building. And we feel that the 2 signs measure actually less than their entitlement for a single sign on the front facade of the building. Essentially what I have brought are renderings of the proposed facade, with Burlington Coat being the center tenant in this building, and their sign package, their standard sign package, will go on the front facade, and then we are plan to construct a return on the side of the entranceway to expose Burlington's name to anyone coming in on the Brant Point side near the new Walmart Supercenter on the side of the building. So you'll be able to see Burlington coming in the standard entrance from the through Baytown Plaza, or the secondary entrance coming in from in front of the Walmart Supercenter. And that's, we are, again, responding on behalf of the needs of our future tenants. So I'm wondering if you have any questions on the specifics of what we're hoping to accomplish here.
Do you know whether Burlington is going to be out on the sign at the corner of Brant Point and Empire?
They have rights to signage on the existing pylons.
Right.
In front of the shopping center on Empire Boulevard, yes.
Do you know if they're going to exercise those rights?
I would assume so.
Yeah, so would I guess. All right, so let's say they're on the pylon sign out there in the corner. You just said, you said something that made me think a little bit when you said you're here, whatever language you use, exercising their interest or their right, their needs, I think it was. I guess I'd ask you, how do you know at this point, as opposed to if you were to come back after a year and I understand you're pinch hitting, and say, geez, sales volume hasn't been what we thought it would be. So therefore, after a year of doing business, we think a second sign would increase the business, get us to the level where we thought we would be. In other words, do you have any projections? We have a similar store in Connecticut, wherever, that we saw after a very brief period that the second sign would enhance our volume, our sales, that sort of thing. I don't know if you have any information other than the obvious physical layout of this building in two big parking lots. I mean, I certainly get it, but to me, if somebody's turning in at the Brant Point, they're going to Burlington, they're going to get there. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people that are in Walmart didn't like what they saw there, or it's a different level product, I don't know. But I guess I'd like to hear a little bit more about why Burlington, and hence you, feel that you need two signs now.
Speaking on assumption here, because we are the landlord, we're not the tenant. I understand the traffic flow of the shopping center, and what is the primary entrance coming in off of Empire Boulevard when the new Walmart Supercenter opened, and the traffic substantially shifted to Brant Point near that existing pylon sign. There's a number of vehicles that may, when they're going down towards Walmart, not know necessarily that Burlington is in their former building. And I think the intent is to have that exposure to anyone that is shopping in that other portion of the shopping center to be able to be seen. Whereas the front signage, with Walmart being off to the side over here, may not give them the exposure that they're looking for that traffic coming in off of Brant Point.
So I guess I'd agree with that. It's hard not to when you consider the physical location of the building and the store, but you do have the sign, or you will have the sign on Brant Point. So if I'm turning in off of Brant Point, in other words, I've seen that pylon sign, I know I'm headed in the right direction to Burlington. I'm here, just a matter of where is the actual entrance to the building. If I come in what we'll call the old entrance. Correct. Near McDonald's, and whatever Hess is called now, Speedway. That entrance there, I could see why you'd need a sign on the building facing that direction. But again, I'm struggling with, I got Brant Point over here, I'm using that entrance, I know I'm getting to Burlington. I come around and I see Walmart, okay, I don't see a sign necessarily, but I'm in the plaza now, I'm looking. But if I'm coming in, again, near McDonald's, I can look up and I can see the Burlington sign. That's all. And I'm not saying that in a year from now, you guys wouldn't be justified coming in and saying, hey, we need a second one. Honestly, sort of like some of your other tenants that have started and come in and said, hey, we need additional signage. Now, there were some that I know that we did grant from the beginning. The wing place that never went in. I forget the name of that. The Wild Wings, right? They decided to move to a different town for whatever reason. But I think we granted them 2 signs from the beginning, or did we not?
I don't know.
I'm trying to find consistency.
DeBella's about the only one I remember.
DeBella's?
You do bring up a good point about getting into the site, though, and I'm thinking not only about Burlington, but I know there are going to be other businesses in that building.
Right, that's the other issue.
They're going to need visibility.
Same argument.
And I'm wondering if you did a wayfinding sign, maybe within the, eye level in the driving lane somewhere on an island to show that not just Burlington, but Shoe Department and Planet Fitness or whoever else is going to go in there.
So are you talking
to
about?
get them all there.
You mean a directional, more
Directly sign at eye level instead of up on the building.
Building tech.
Well,
Like down by
that's one of the reasons why we thought with the side elevation of the building facing the existing Walmart Supercenter, you know, these various businesses are going to have their own entitlement for facade signage on the side of the building. So this is just kind of a supplemental band that also lets somebody know that there's something behind those stores when they're pulling into those shops in particular. So.
That sign, I thought initially that it was going to actually be on the side of the wall of the building, but it looks like you're kind of building a specialized structure to keep it up there.
That is the plan. There will be a return built across the roof line, which will, for the purpose of supporting that.
It won't exceed the roof line, is what you're saying. It will not exceed, you'll have a parapet or something along.
Well, it would just be a return back from here. This drawing.
So that sign on the north side is actually in line with their space. It's not on the far side of the building.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, wait, see here on that picture, on the way on the left-hand side, you show a post out there. No, keep going to the left. Yeah, that one.
So it's not.
That's where it looks like on here is the facade, is the sign. Okay? I'm just here.
Yeah,
Take a look.
That's where I would have thought it was.
Because you said facade, it certainly isn't on a facade, it's on the roof.
We have somebody look right here.
Yeah, that's what I said, it's on a separate post.
But that right there's the corner of the building. This is
Yeah.
way behind it.
I agree. The front one's on the facade of your building here. Would you like to take I'll give you a picture of it.
I've got the drawing right here.
Okay. See, it looks like it's on the corner of the building, on the north side of the building, okay, with a separate post on top of the building, and then the facade is left blank for all the little stores you're gonna put in there.
But it's set back, Joe.
Well, it doesn't look like it, Mike.
Set back hundreds
How
of
can you
feet.
tell that?
Yeah. We can't tell.
You can't.
I can't tell, but I mean, it's not where, you see where his return is?
But he's telling you that it's set
Recessed under
back.
the roof line, or is this
This
built?
is where the other
on
sign is in the
parapet wall
front.
of
This
the-
is this one. This is probably 50 yards.
I was gonna say,
So the key is.
how the heck you gonna see that if you're on the ground? I mean, you know, if it was on the corner of the building, yeah, but on the ground. That's why I'm trying to get an understanding of it. I mean, they show it like it's,
Yeah, I think you're right.
you can see it 100 miles, but
I think you're right.
But that's something we can table too, if he doesn't know. It's an important one.
I stand corrected, I believe you're right, that is brought out to the end of the building.
yep.
I don't know if these are a little easier to look at than.
See, this looks like the little, this looks like the little corner of the building right there, right?
And it's in front of that.
Yeah, see this? This looks like the corner of the building right here. You know?
Okay, but I guess I would be looking for some information from our staff here about our prior rulings, if you will, on requests in this plaza, right from the get-go about having two signs. And I know, as I said, the Buffalo Wings comes to mind, and the Bellas.
Possibly Baytown Liquor.
Geez, I don't know about that.
Banner.
We give them banners.
Banner.
They have banners.
Yeah, they certainly have the banners now on the back and on the poles.
But they came
But
back.
I don't think they came in initially requesting that, nor did I don't think any other tenant along those lines did. The spa, getting now back to the street of shops, came in subsequent. Baytown's, I don't think Napa, I don't know that Napa,
There's just one.
yeah. And Witchcraft, I don't know that they asked for two. So I'd like a little bit of that history, in particular, like Blockbuster, even going back to maybe tenants that aren't there anymore, and just see what happened. And I know you don't.
I know that one key point too is the fact that due to the frontage of the store, that they're entitled to upwards of 340 square feet of signage based upon the formulas. And
Yeah, and that's
with
good.
both of these sign packages, with two combined, they're still well under the 340.
Still under, which is good. It's a very good point for you to raise, and we acknowledge that. It's just still asking for two signs is a variance request. And if we think it's appropriate, and we've done it, Now, don't get me wrong, we have done it, and we may have done it in this plaza. I just can't remember. But I'm struggling with the idea that maybe it's premature here. And I know every single tenant would like as much signage as possible. We get that. We deal with that every month. So, okay. Any other questions?
If Burlington's on the main pylon sign, on
Right.
Grand Point, you get in there and you can't see, there's only so many buildings there.
Of
If
that
you
size.
can't find it, you're gonna look to the biggest building that's not visible.
Well, and then Jim's point about maybe when you get further in off of Empire, and now you clearly see Walmart on, when you turn right, Walmart's gonna be on your left. You see the U of R. You're gonna drive past Chili's to get in. You see Napa, but well, maybe a sign there. If there isn't a sign on the north facade, but maybe there is a wayfinding sign or whatever word you use to describe it.
Of course, every tenant's going to want to be on that wayfinding sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and you know,
We're running into that already.
you've lost some tenants, I know. Nobody wants to see that happen, but maybe that's a way to sort of deal with requests that may be coming in the future as well.
And
Plaza's great, by the way. I live not far from it, and I've really paid close attention to its redevelopment, and I'm going to give you a big thumbs up on that. And we want to help foster that, continue to foster that. Just want to be cautious about saying yes, because we know there's going to be other people coming in, and that's just my opinion.
Understood. I think one of the issues would be if you have a shopper who's coming into the shopping center through that Brand Point entrance who isn't necessarily looking for Burlington and drive right by the pylon sign, they pull in, now they're over in the Walmart parking lot, and they look over and say, oh, Burlington's here, just
Right.
because of that exposure.
And I need a coat. So honestly, that's pretty much the argument that the liquor store owner made. Hey, I'm in Walmart. What are we having for dinner tonight? Oh, spaghetti. Well, now we need a bottle of Chianti. Right, that goes, right, Mike? So, but boy, where's the closest liquor store? Well, they may not even know it's right around the corner. Hopefully, those banners are helping. And that's what I'm looking for, is maybe a year's worth of, and I'm not suggesting that, but some data that we can say, oh yeah, like the spa guy. I remember the spa guy came in and said, hey, we were hoping to be here, and we're here, and whatever we can do. And by the way, those owners the small owners did a lot of marketing themselves. We asked, what else have you done in conjunction or before coming to ask us for further relief? And they'd done some not cheap marketing themselves, which was good to see. So, in any event, you guys can see where I'm going. I'm going to end up making a motion to table.
I'm just going to add a little clarity on the site plan that you submitted. It does show where that second sign is, and it's directly above the center of the entrance. So it's not on the end of the building, because your site map actually shows A and B, and they're both on top of each other.
Let me see this.
That's what.
Okay, then I
that was my assumption.
guess what my question would be then, from the left edge of the building, north edge of the building, to that sign, how far is that?
How many? Yeah.
Okay, in other words, where we thought the sign was, put your finger on that, right? No, that's where it is, you
Yeah.
say.
Well, the edge of the sign.
Yeah, from there to there.
To there.
How long is that?
It's got to be over 100 feet.
Then you got to know how high it is too, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, I mean, it's got to be over 100 feet, and someone on the ground on the car, how would you possibly see that sign if it was there?
Would you even?
I mean, would you even? I mean, if you're coming in from Brand Point, like you said, no, gee, I'm looking for Burlington, I don't think you're 100 feet into a roof on the building, you're going to see a sign?
Probably multiple hundreds of feet.
I mean, I'm just bringing up points that I look at.
Yeah.
Okay?
Understood. Yeah, I mean, if the hope is that the rendering is a true reflection of what's.
Yeah,
how it's
but I
gonna
guess
appear.
how high is that sign? If it only goes up 10 foot or 8 foot or whatever, how high it is, that sign, I mean, you're trying to look, do you understand what I mean? If you're standing on the ground and you're looking at a building, and you have to see up and along 200 feet or whatever it is, you're not going to see it.
Yeah, it's
Impossible.
Less than 6 foot up from the sign, from the height of the sign.
It does appear as though this band is upwards of 9 feet in
Okay,
elevation.
but again, if you're standing at the left corner of that building, you ain't seeing it. You go back to Brant Point even, Brant Road, I got the odds saying, you're not gonna see that sign.
Unless you're at grade or somewhat, the building sits down below grade.
Does it? I mean, how tall is the building?
All right, well, so I think we have some ideas of further information we'd be looking for, and hopefully you do, and maybe you can go back and watch this again. Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
No? Anyone in the audience? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Want to go back to item number 8?
Yes, sir.
Item number 8, Benjamin and Justin Verone, 2142 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, 14615. On behalf of Eyesight, request special permit under Chapter 250, Article 10-12A, and Chapter 250, Article 10-12D of the Code to allow 2 freestanding signs, one with less setback than permitted at 2142 Penfield Road. Property is owned by 441 Realty Group LLC and is zoned business non-retail. SBL number 139.08-1-73, application number 17Z-0027. Ron.
Thanks. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Ben Peters, owner at Eyesight and 441 Realty Group, and just back again to try and find a good place to put these signs that we're looking for.
Okay, can I stop you 1 second?
Sure.
And just notify you that you've asked for 3 signs, 1 in the front, 2 directional in the back, okay?
Yes.
Okay, the number 3 sign that you're talking about, okay, is on town property.
Yes.
And we have no jurisdiction over it, so we're, as far as I'm concerned, don't even talk about it because we can't make any ruling on it, okay? So all we're gonna deal with is sign number 1, the freestanding sign in the front, and the directional sign number 2 in the back.
Okay.
Okay, so again, thank you. I didn't mean,
No,
yeah,
that's
directional.
fine. Do you know who I go to
Yes,
apply for
you'd
that?
have to talk to the town board.
Okay, yeah,
They
I'll
are
talk
in
to
charge
them.
of the process.
Thank you. So the front sign, the one closest to 441, we're looking to, when I was here last time, it was going to be a little closer to the road. Now I'm just looking to have it in line with the other signs along that same side of the road, which in our case will be from the right-of-way, 12 feet from the right-of-way, which is about 20 feet from the sidewalk.
Okay.
So, which is where Summit's sign sits as well, and they are our next-door neighbor. And then the one in the back is just to identify our parking lot. We are, and you know, I know the directional sign is out of it, but we're hearing a lot from patients who are, they go by the place, they can't turn in, there's no parking lot in the front, they can't turn at the light, they're turning around in Wegmans, coming back, trying to find their way in, and even once they're in, they look to the left and they see Summit Bank, and then our parking lot is kind of tucked behind theirs, so we're just trying to get something back there to identify us.
Okay, yeah, explain what you mean. I know coming, would it be west, trying to turn into your property, you can't do it. Off of
correct.
441.
Off of 441, if you go into the plaza entrance.
You have to go into the plaza.
You have to go into the plaza entrance.
Because that dividing point of the road, because I pulled up there to try and turn left into your driveway, and I can't.
Nothing there,
It's another
right.
20 feet down the road. So you have to go into that plaza, is what you're
Yes,
talking
yes, that's our only entrance.
Coming from that way.
Until the access road in the back goes all the way through, then we'll have the Harris Whalen Road there for patients to be able to loop around. But as of right now, if you're going west, you're right, and they pass that plaza entrance, then they have to find their way back around. That's correct.
Okay, explain, now let's go to the freestanding sign, okay?
Yes.
Is the freestanding sign going to be, because when I was there, you weren't there, but I kind of went out and looked at it. It's going to be where you have the electricity coming up through the ground there?
The one closest to 441?
Yes.
No, it will be further back toward our
Even
building
farther
than
back?
that, yes. I
Okay.
believe that one sits at about 10 feet from the
I was
sidewalk.
going to say, that seemed a little
So it's going to be
closer.
about double the distance. Originally, that's where we thought we were going to have it, and that's where they put the electric, and now they
Okay.
just have to move the
You
electric.
just shorten the electric up? in
Yes,
order to do it.
yeah.
And what kind of electric are you going to have on the sign?
It's just for the lighting from the sides. There's going to be two grass-mounted lights, and the landscaping is part of the landscaping. Directional right onto the sign itself, yes.
Okay, and do you know what hours you would like those signs to be lit, your sign to be lit?
Probably dusk till midnight.
Okay. All right, you know, again,
that.
you can say 24 hours.
Right.
We're questioning you on what
No, I
you'd
just-
like.
I don't
you
see
know.
any reason to
Okay,
have it
so in
much
other
more
words,
than
leave
that.
them on till midnight.
Yes.
How about that directional sign in the back? I think you've tried to explain why you need it, right? So are you saying that when you turn into, by where the AAA is, and you get to where you have a sign now, okay, that directs you, there's no sign there. So they kind of look to the left, and you think they're gonna, where that other sign would be, you feel gives them an idea of where your parking lot is?
Well, we hope so, but that is why we wanted to get that third sign in with the arrow, the small directional saying eyesight that way, so then they would start to drive in that direction and not be frozen at that turning point there.
Yeah,
Because
well,
our
but
old
again, we
practice
can't,
is to the
right?
right. Yeah.
You understand that
I know,
that's...
no, I
Okay.
understand that.
That's
so
why I say, you know, it's hard because I would probably like to know if you got that first sign. If you got the first one, you probably don't need the second one because they can't go anywhere except into your building.
Right.
I mean, if they go left.
Right.
Okay, but if you don't get that one, I mean, I can see why you would need that, the one down the road. So, I mean, does anybody have a feeling on that, Jim? Or?
I will tell you from experience, in dealing with the town board has jurisdiction over the signage within the Four Corners area, and when we expanded Mott's Lane down to Penfield Road, we didn't think about it as being an issue at the time, but it became an issue where people did not know where to turn into Nothnagel, they did not know where to turn into Joey's. It became a little problematic, and as a result, the town board did allow for that kind of signage to show identification to get them into those proper parking lots. I think he's going to have the same problem as the rest of the road is developed out, which we're hoping will happen fairly soon. People will start utilizing Harris Whalen Park Road and start using it to the east. They're going to have to know, you know, where to go into some of these businesses, or they're going to have some problems.
Okay, so directional sign is almost, I hate to say, use the word absolutely needed, but it would be quite helpful.
Yes.
To locate your
Yes.
business.
Exactly, as he said, once that road goes through and they come from the other direction, that will be important.
Right.
Thank you.
I think the other issue too, Joe, is going back to your comment regarding the issue with the town board, and this is more for the applicant than this board because you don't have any jurisdiction over it, but I think that you're probably going to have to work with your neighbors once the road is completed to come up with an overall comprehensive sign that identifies where everybody is
Let me get through this.
versus just one or two at a time.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Okay, and I have a question, I guess, on your sign, okay?
Yes.
We have almost like two different, renditions of it. This is the one you're saying, this is your single-face sign, right? That says eyesight?
That is the one that will be in the parking lot, yes.
In the parking lot?
In the parking lot.
In the parking lot?
I mean,
In front of the building?
no, that is the one.
You only want two directional signs.
No, that's the one that would have gone into the parkland, I think.
Right.
That's at the driveway and
Yeah,
back.
that's not going to be addressed tonight.
We're not addressing this
Right.
one.
Not the double eyesight sign that's showing the arrows. That's the one they were going to put in the park.
That's the town board sign.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, now wait a minute. This one here, where does that go?
that goes
440.
in that back, no, that goes in the parking lot in the back, saying this is, if somebody's going down the access road, it's going to be
So,
That's 441. For the eye.
right,
so
this
the-
is why I guess I'm getting confused.
Right,
Okay,
I'm
now you
sorry.
got this one.
That's the one.
Okay, this
closest
is
to
the one that you
441.
want in front,
That is correct.
okay?
That's correct.
And you don't want, you're calling this a directional sign right here?
No, that was just our second freestanding sign, and then the other one we're calling a directional, which you said is off the table tonight.
Yeah.
Isn't that sign larger, though? The one in the back, isn't that a larger sign than the one in
Confused.
the front?
They want
Right,
this
so
one
the
too?
variance, no, the one in the
understand
back
that?
is smaller. The one in the back, I believe, if you look at the dimensions, I believe
It's
it's
on a scale on
2
the
feet by, yes, if you look at the
Okay.
actual
Almost
dimensions.
2 by 4.
Believe me when
2
I
by
tell
4,
you,
Almost.
forgive me, I'm old and confused.
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
I tried
That
to
one
label
is
it
the
on
one
there.
you want in front of your building?
Yes,
This one, right here?
yes,
Gotcha, okay?
And for the record, can you tell us how large those two signs are?
Yeah.
The one in the front is, the sign itself is 4x4, and it's
Okay.
sitting on the decorative base, whatever you call that.
And it's gonna
and
be
that is-
lighted like we talked about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so that wooden decorative base, L-shaped base that it sits on. But the sign itself is 4x4. And then the one in the back that's going to be in the parking lot, there's a small...
Now, wait a minute.
Okay.
But that's where we're
Stay on that.
getting a little confused with each other, okay? Right now, there is a directional sign as you turn in, points you to the left, right? By the AAA.
That is the one that you said is off the
Okay,
table tonight.
you're right, I'm
yeah.
just asking,
Yes,
that's what I
yes,
saw.
Yes.
Now, I drive down to your building, and I see another one like this, I understand.
No, no.
I
No,
don't
the
see
on
one
the
like
right,
this?
The one on the right. The one on the
This
right.
is the one that's on the right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he's proposing.
That's your number.
Oh, that's what you're
That's
proposing.
number 2.
Yes.
That's number 2.
Yes, sorry, I tried to
You
label it
you
on the
don't
map.
have that now there.
No, right now we just have the sandwich boards up, waiting for
Okay, yeah, because I
approvals.
saw
Yes.
something that directed us,
Yes, I'm
directed
sorry.
me into your parking lot,
That
but
one
it
does
wasn't
have
that sign.
that one does have an arrow on it. The one that we're going to
Okay.
install permanently will not have an arrow on it. It will just
Okay,
be our logo and the,
this just identifies your property from the access road.
yes.
Okay, so it's not really a directional sign, it's another freestanding sign
It's another
technically.
freestanding sign, which is why we were applying for 2 freestanding signs.
Okay,
And that was the variance that we were looking for in
okay.
that.
All
Yes.
right, now I got it clear.
Okay,
Because what I
sorry.
saw and what you're saying, it's not there right now.
sense. Yes.
Okay, but you have a different sign there than you want this one instead of the one like this there.
That's correct,
Okay,
yeah.
I
No,
got you.
we just have the temporaries up now.
Okay. Is there going to be any lighting on that sign?
No.
Okay, so it's just a monument, a little small, or shouldn't
Yes.
say small, but a monument sign, 2242, yeah, okay. All right. All right, I got it.
Okay.
That's all that I have. Danny, go ahead.
The sign out front, I think Joe hit on something that made me think about it. If all the cars are going west and you're looking to attract people from the sign out front, I guess what's the purpose of a sign out front when you've already driven by the entrance for westbound traffic?
Well, for westbound traffic, we don't have any other choice unless we can get a sign off our property.
Right. Well, I'm just looking
to
because the word
notify people.
eyesight is across, a good face of the building, and it's very, very obvious to everyone I've spoken to. They've seen the word eyesight. They know exactly where it is.
Right.
So I'm just trying to get a little more feel for the need for multiple freestanding signs.
Well, I guess when the access road goes through, that, it'll be visible for them, and then they know that that they can turn at the next light. Or the people going eastbound, same thing, they would know that, okay, there's the building, and it's just more visible when you're driving. It's easier for somebody who's in traffic to look and just glance at this sign that's facing them as opposed to a sign that's facing actually 441. Yes, the sign on the building is very visible if you're in the Wegmans parking lot, but when you're going 30 miles an hour down 441 or 50, whatever they go, it's...
Okay.
He is entitled to a freestanding sign by code. And actually, this sign's smaller than what he's entitled to.
Well, no, but more I'm thinking that if we're going to be asking for a freestanding sign out back, and that might have more,
Well, as I say,
some point.
from our perspective, at least in the Four Corners, we've looked at those signs not so much as business identification for the sake of letting people drive by at 45, 50 miles an hour. You're really trying to direct them. It's more of a directional sign to get them
Okay.
into the parking lot is what it is.
okay,
Because nobody's going to see it other than his clients coming to the site.
on the back side, right?
So, just so I'm clear, you're describing as directional the sign that is going to go in the back.
But it's still a freestanding sign.
No, I get
in
it.
essence.
It's
So,
both.
But it's not serving the public need in terms of 40,000 people a day
Right.
driving by it to say, oh, there they are.
But he'll need to come back for a variance for that because it's larger than 1 square foot.
No, you can grant the permit for it. It's a special permit, and you can grant that permit for it.
Okay.
It's directional in the sense that the only people that are using it are the ones that are going to be in his parking lot.
Okay.
Doesn't have to have an arrow to be direct.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, that clears it up a little bit more. Directional used
But
to be.
it's still a freestanding sign, so therefore you have to have the ability to
I
approve
got
it or
it.
deny it.
Now, I guess regarding the size of that one, do you really need the 2142?
No, we
Yeah, people,
don't.
as Jim was saying, people are there, they're not necessarily looking for 2142 Penfield Road, they're looking for
Right,
eyesight.
no, that's not
So
necessary.
you could kind of shrink the size of that to the extent anybody's concerned about the size of that one by lopping off the 2142. But I do think it's more important for your argument on that side as to whether or not you'd get the directional from the town board too, at least, again, that's my opinion. So, any other questions? No. Anyone in the audience? Okay. Thank you very much. And I think
That's it.
in only an hour and a half.
That's the
and,
soundest, yeah.
That's it with the hearing. So the public hearings will be adjourned. We're going to take a brief 4-minute, is that good enough, Joe? I always have to ask you.
Sure.
4-minute recess and
Ask the old
reconvene in the
guy.
back. So thank you all very much.
I would like to move, this is a type 2 action requiring no further action. Environmental review.
Who second?
Joe did.
Joe. Marie and Joe.
All right, we have a motion on seeker to determine it's a type 2 action by Marie and a second by Joe. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. So basically, I have no problem with them wanting to be in line with the other sign on that side of the street. And I feel like I could make a motion to approve for a reduced setback, but I want to word it carefully because we don't know what Torpy's actual setback is.
And I'll measure that for you.
Okay, so I would move that we approve this, but that the setback be no closer than the property next door.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Okay, thank you.
Determined by staff.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Marie and a second by Joe, with the understanding that staff will verify the exact distance. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Okay, I lost number 8. Ah, there it is.
Number 8.
Okay, number 8. Okay, in the break, I just asked you if you had numbers on the back of your building, correct? And your answer was?
You're not, correct.
No, right. So I guess what Dan was saying too is you talk about the height of that sign in the back. Is it a problem if we knock those numbers off and you put the numbers on your building?
No, that's fine.
Okay, so then that's what I'll make a motion is to grant the sign in the front.
You going to see her first?
Yeah, we do want to.
Ah, boy, oh, boy. My fault.
Can you have them
Okay, yep. I gotta put the other glasses. What is it?
Recommend a type 2.
I make a motion that it's a type 2 for seeker. Okay.
I'll second that. All right, so we have a motion to determine that it's a type 2 action under seeker and that no further action is required. And Joe made that motion and I seconded it. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. I apologize. So I'll get back to my point. I'll approve the sign in the front, the distance from the road that he wanted it. And I'll approve the sign in the back if he removes the numbers off the top and keeps it that size. Okay?
What do you mean keeps it that size?
Well, the size that he shows here, less the numbers.
So it reduces
The height of the sign, that's correct.
Okay.
So you're actually cutting the sign down.
Which is
Yeah,
correct.
You're taking the
just
number.
take the numbers off.
So let me ask you that, Jim. Will that reduction in the size of the sign reduce its effectiveness to the point where we shouldn't do that?
No, I don't think so, because the signs, if you look at Mott's Lane, the signs are smaller.
Okay.
All you're really trying to do is get them to that point where they realize they're at eyesight.
driveway,
And I think with his
My
eyesight,
point, yeah.
he's got his blurry eyes.
Yeah, the little eye there, that's
One of the things to be
that's
careful of, though, is
distinctive.
50% of all signs, you're only allowed to have graphic design on 50%, so you may have to reduce down the graphic as much and I don't know, or just put eyesight down there if you want, it's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, work with as long as we have the sign and it's within what we talked about, okay? So,
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to approve
Both signs.
both of those requests, knowing that the third one is not before us.
Not our purview.
And did we get a second?
Not yet.
Yes, second.
Thank you. All right, a motion to approve both with a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You meant the recusals too.
Yes,
Two
there
recusals.
were two recusals. Mike and Marie were recusals on
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good night.
Take care now.
Thank you as well.
All right, so let's go to, yeah, wherever Burlington is. What number is it, 11?
The last one, 11, yep.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to table this for the reasons discussed at the hearing. Generally speaking, oh, I'm sorry.
Seeker?
Yeah.
Wait to do secret.
3 for 3. 3 for 3.
You can wait.
We can wait because we're going to table? So there you go, Joe. I guess I didn't screw up. But in any event, for the reasons...
Intuitively, he knew he'd have to.
For the, yeah. I'm just seeing if you guys were on top of things.
That's how we work.
Okay, so just the general notion of, is it premature? I'd like you guys to address that. The historical, the history here of this plaza with requests that have been made for 2 signs before the tenant's there. And I wish I could help you more on that. But the only one that comes to mind is the Wild Wings. Maybe DeBellis. Does DeBellis have 2 now?
I don't think so.
So the Wild Wings, and I think it was granted, but in any event, whatever history you guys can provide us there for consistency would be good.
And can I add the location of the sign, Dan, because we're not sure if it's on the edge of the building?
Clarify that, the size of it, its location, its visibility from throughout.
Now, Paul Colucci did respond to me, and he did say that view shed studies were conducted, with the critical access points being over closer to Brant Point, where the elevation is a little higher.
So give us that in writing then, if you would.
Okay.
All right?
Show us the view sheds.
And show us whatever you can, I'm sure it's true, but whatever you can from, and then also the notion of if Burlington's gonna go on the, what do we call it, a pontoon? Pylon sign out front, is there a way to achieve substantially the same purpose with the 2 signs would by directing traffic, which would also help other tenants. As I was sincere about all my comments about the plaza and the work you guys are doing there, it's great, but I don't think any of us want to see an application every month for a new tenant that comes in. Yeah, the geography of the plaza is what it is. We get that. We want to be, generally speaking, business friendly, but we don't want to throw the statute, the code out the window. It's still there. We have to deal with it. So give us some ideas, get some creativity, and we'll be as flexible as we can.
I mean, you see other malls that have wayfinding signs. You drive halfway into the mall and you might have 6 signs, arrow points this way, this way, this way. So also, do you turn right or left? Yeah.
Yeah, and also office parks have that.
Yeah, just right or left or straight.
And that is part of the plan. The concern is you generally don't need the wayfinding signs so much for the larger tenants. It's the smaller tenants that
But here in this case, we need 2 signs to large tenant because you can't find them.
If you're on the wrong side of the shopping center, right?
Right.
Yeah, but so is Walmart on the wrong side now. You pull in from Creek Street, you pull in from your house. I mean, I live right down the street, so if I pull in the one off of Creek Street, I have no idea Walmart's there.
So do you guys have, do you have any other items to include in the tabling?
No.
Other than those
Second
discussed,
motion.
and as well as the ones discussed during the public hearing? Okay, so we have a motion to table for those items and by me, and a second by Mike. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Number 1. Let's see, number 1. What are we? We were a unlisted action, so versus the neg deck unlisted action, no likely impacts identified.
Second.
All right, we have a motion under seeker to determine it's an unlisted action and to make the further finding that no significant impacts would occur. And we have, that was by Andres, and a second, Marie.
And
Further discussion on that?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And for the applicant's request here, I'm going to make a motion to deny the second shed. I think there's too many other options that have not been explored here. One, just putting a larger shed out there, tearing that one down and putting a larger shed. I think the applicant just wasn't aware of it for those kind of things.
I'll second that, by the way.
And so I think, for that, but now that I just think about it, were we thinking about tabling this for this guy?
That's what I
Not really. I mean, to me, I'm just giving you my vote. I don't care what he comes back with. I don't care.
Okay,
I mean,
I'm in the same.
5 gallons of gas and a match can get rid of what's there. I don't mean it nastily, but there's not a lot of.
What other ways to take that?
Well, I thought you lawyers would understand
I'm
that.
not seconding that.
Well, then I'll stand by my motion to deny. I think there's too many other options that weren't explored, and I think there's options that are still very feasible. For 6 feet longer, he can get a shed that's, a lot more that'll meet his requirements.
Okay, but this applicant was not expecting, I thought he was expecting to be tabled.
Me too.
I think he expected it to be granted if he's ordering the shed already.
Well, if he means after the hearing.
But I think, for me personally, either way, I don't think, if he comes back and says, a bigger shed's gonna not work for me.
Understood. I just wonder about,
But
that was his expectation, and is that,
I
okay?
asked him if he was agreeable to it if we decided to do that. I didn't say we were going to.
Okay, all right.
You're right, and you're right. You said that, and I knew what you meant, but he was, my impression of his body language is he almost thought that it was his choice.
Yeah.
But we know that's not the, yes, and he was kind of thinking about whether he should table it. So you hate to table something if ultimately it's not going to get approved, but you also don't want somebody thinking that he was deceived in some manner.
That's what I'm concerned about. I'm
I
just
know,
concerned about
I know.
appearances.
But wasn't he talking about letting us know before we got to this
And being
point?
good
Well, because what
communicators.
if he decided that he wanted to withdraw it and then maybe went down another path and it didn't work, and then he would have to come back again for some modified application, and he'd be stuck with having already gotten a denial.
So what we're saying is, he
Well, I
made a
can deny with no
motion,
prejudice.
to table it
Well,
because
it sounds like
I don't know
he hasn't let
who
us know
talked
what
about
his
table,
thoughts
but
are.
it should have never been.
Well, we
I mean,
can
something like this, we
deny
got-
it without prejudice if that helps in any manner.
Me personally, I don't see really any,
Right.
I don't know of any hardship that's gonna come up here that's gonna be,
Allow
that's
him
gonna
to
sway me
second
either
shed,
way.
right.
Yeah.
Understand completely what you're saying.
Sounds like the better approach would be either to deny because he didn't meet his burden, or to table it, not do it without prejudice. I don't know what the
Well, what's he gonna come back with, other than he's gonna withdraw it or deny it? Either way, it's not going.
Yeah, so I'll stand by what I said, that it'd be a motion to deny.
Yeah, and if there's a concern, he thinks he was somehow misled, or, let me know, and that certainly wasn't the intention. So I appreciate Maria saying that, because I feel the same way, but, there's no, I think the result is not going to change.
I understand.
And it might even cause them a little bit more angst to come back here, so.
Concerned about perception was all
Right,
it was.
and
so-
these guys will handle him when he comes in with his questions, and, yeah.
Okay.
I wish I had talked to him before he made the.
He left pretty quick, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so
I could be fine with that.
we have a motion to deny for the reasons discussed, and
And I second.
by Andres, and a second by Joe. Any further discussion on the motion to deny? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So, number 2.
Number 2, this is a type 2 action. No further review.
All right, I will second that. So we have a motion under seeker to determine it's a type 2 action and therefore no further action necessary by Andres, and Dan seconding it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And then I will make a motion to approve the variance for 5 foot 2 inches, I guess is what it works out to be, if we're going down to inches, something like that.
5'1".
0.1.
That's 0.1, so that's almost 2 inches, close. This, he bought this, it wasn't self-created, and it sounds like due to the site layout with where the tree is and the other structures with the tree house, the only other option would be for him to try to get it across the whole entire yard, which would prove difficult for the way the yard is set up.
Probably wouldn't survive it.
It probably wouldn't survive it, yes, exactly. And the cost incurred to do that, so.
And his honesty about getting
He
permits
wants
for
to,
the
he wants to,
deck and
yeah,
that.
he's not trying to hide it,
That's what I
so.
found, right.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Okay, a motion to approve by Andres, second by Mike. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, 4 is withdrawn. 3.
Three, I think. Three, yeah. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that this is a type 2 action.
Nice, Joe.
No further needed, nothing further needed.
Oh, design.
Okay, a motion to under seeker to determine type 2 action, no further action necessary by Joe, and a second by, I believe Marie won that battle.
Yes, she did.
Well, not a battle.
Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And I'll make a motion that we
Aye.
approve this. I mean, it's 0.1 of a foot, 1/10 of
We
a
lawyers
foot.
call it de minimis.
Yeah, de minimis? Okay.
I
it's a
thought
good
we
one.
had an administrative approval. We don't have that in the code
Too
anywhere?
bad we don't.
We talked
Yeah,
about that.
that's, I know, well,
Okay.
okay, you brought it,
Doesn't
there
happen
was
very
no
often.
problem, no big
Once
deal.
every couple of years.
So we make a, I approve it, so.
Second.
Further discussion? Motion to approve by Joe, a second by Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 4, 5, 6, we've done 7.
7 is D, man.
Boy, I really thought I was hallucinating, whatever, when I'm reading this memo and it says he's gonna
I
replace the
know.
Japanese restaurant.
Well,
I'm
that's all-
like, I'm there all the time, what am I missing?
I did not type that.
No, I don't, it's,
I did.
believe me.
It was an early on.
Don't worry about it, I'm not criticizing, I'm glad I'm not
Losing your
crazy.
mind there for a
For that reason, I'm not crazy. Plenty of reasons to be crazy. Okay, so I am going to make a motion, under seeker. Under seeker, I'm gonna make a motion. Well, it's funny because the recommendation I have in my memo is type 2, but maybe it's because of this.
You were probably thinking Japanese, that's why.
Because it was Japanese, yeah, right.
Okay, all right, so make a motion that it's on listed action, however, they're a finding that there would be no substantial or significant impacts.
I'll second that.
All right, so my motion under seeker, unlisted action, and Andres seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
I will make a motion now that we've taken care of seeker, so to speak, to approve this restaurant use. I think it'll be a good one. Boy, we do have a lot of activity in that area, which I think is good, and hopefully competition will lead to good things. So I would say, I'm trying to look at his application here to see if there's anything in particular other than what he's listed, and I don't see it.
The only thing I'd caution you on is how we handle the parking area there. I'm still.
Have restrike that spot that he's talking
Well,
about.
just make sure they have adequate parking, and then if they want to come back later on for outdoor dining or something like that, it could be.
Yeah, I didn't ask because I don't like to ask unless they're asking themselves. Let them ask.
That's
first.
right.
So what about the parking?
Well, I
Have
think-
the engineer look at it, or?
Yeah, I think we'll do that just to make sure.
So subject to approval by the town engineer for adequate
The
parking.
daycare, when it was in operation, doesn't need a lot of parking. No daycare needs a lot of parking. But if it's
But in and
popular, I
out,
hope it is
you
popular.
have a very busy ATM,
Yeah,
in and out at certain times of the day for the daycare.
yeah. I think it's going to be fine, but I just want to make sure for you. And
Okay.
we'll put some wording in there that we need that parking. Make sure you're comfortable with that.
So that's my motion to approve with those conditions about the
Second,
parking.
unless somebody seconded it.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Number 8, we've already done. Number 9,
I'd like
another
to-
tough one.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion on seeker that it's a type 2 action, nothing further needed.
Second. Seeker motion by Joe, declaring it a type 2 action, and I seconded that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this. Again, they understand it's set from, I think it's May 1st to whatever he wanted, September 30th, okay? So, as long as it's approved by the fire marshal, the heating and everything, and of course, he is responsible for the noise.
Right.
Okay, if there's any other problems with the noise, the town will handle it.
We've got some wording for the condition to
Okay.
make sure that this.
Very good. So it's a motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
Joe's motion to approve, Mike's second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 10.
I make a motion, this is a type 1 action.
So it's the planning board.
Huh?
I think planning board already did it.
Yeah, the planning board
Yeah,
acting as
they
lead
did.
agency already handled the seeker and issued a negative declaration. So you should be able to make the determination now.
I withdraw my motion. But I am going to move to approve the parking variance from 29 spaces where 35 is required, so it's a variance of 6 spaces. There's really not much they can do. Obviously, they need to use the same footprint, and that's going to determine the number of spaces required. The office use, they didn't seem to think was going to be a problem, and 6 spaces is probably not going to make a huge difference there. If it does, there's other things that they can do because of their surrounding businesses. So for those reasons, I would move to approve.
Second.
Okay, so we have a Mike motion to approve on the merits and Joe second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so then we have one left on the table, don't we, the
Oh, yes.
poll?
Yep, the poll.
Yep. All right, the planning board assumed lead agency status on this and has issued a negative declaration, so you don't need to address that. I'm going to move to approve this poll. It's obviously a significant variance, however, that has more to do with the fact that the ordinance is written with regard to poles that are, 100, 200 feet tall. This one, there's already poles in the area that are at least as tall, if not taller. It'll have the same basic impact as a telephone pole. They've certainly shown a need for it, and that there's the attempts that they've made to locate it someplace else were not successful. So for those reasons, I would move to approve.
Second.
Okay, Mike's motion to approve, and Andres has seconded it. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I think that brings us to the end, so what do we have?
I
Go
have
ahead.
2 miscellaneous.
Yeah, I saw something about an email,
Yeah.
which I didn't see.
No, and I want to talk to you a little bit, well, the first email I want to talk to you about is an internal issue. It really comes down to something we've been discussing tonight. Andy Savagas has asked me to contact you and ask for your interpretation. If you have an existing freestanding sign, for instance, like you dealt with tonight,
Right.
and they want to utilize that sign again as a new operator, and they're not changing size or they're not changing setback in any way, they're going to utilize a substandard setback. Is the board's policy to allow it to happen, or do you want to keep bringing people in?
When you say new, are you saying, say,
Well, say for instance tonight with the dog groomers, they had
Okay.
that sign out there.
Right.
That sign does not meet setback now.
Right.
It was at some point in time approved by this board to be substandard from the right of way. If somebody comes in and opens up a new business and wants to utilize that existing freestanding sign, even though it no longer
because it's in
complies-
violation?
Well, it's a new operator, basically.
Yeah, right.
It's been sitting there for years, obviously, if you looked at it. Is the board comfortable with staff allowing those permits to be issued for the exact same sign, the same
Absolutely.
size?
Unless there's
Yeah.
a compelling reason that there's a difference that
Yeah.
Right, yeah, if the sign's bigger, if it's bigger than was originally proposed.
Or if it's illuminated
or if
versus
it's-
not illuminated, I would
If
say
it's
something like
anything
that.
different than what it was approved for initially, we would bring it back to you.
Well, and I would say, going even further, and if there's some reason that it's, all of those factors are the same, but there's some other perhaps unforeseen reason that staff feels it should go to the board.
Right.
Staff could always send it to us.
Right.
But I don't think we would object to staff if all other things being equal, says go ahead.
And I'm
That's
comfortable
fine.
with staff being able to make that decision.
Because we will bring them back to you if we need to.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have for you is I got a request from Chili's. In, earlier this year,
They have Burlington sign on the side of the
you had approved 3 signs, 3 wall-mounted signs for Chili's.
Oh.
And those signs, you had approved a 22 square foot sign.
Yeah, but it was Christmas then.
One was a pepper, one was, and 2 were chilies. And they want to take down, there was a pepper sign, a chili sign, and a to-go sign on the back of the building. And there was a total of 92.5 square feet. They're entitled to 138 square feet at this point in time for the building to meet code. So you approved 92. One of the signs was 22. What the major sign saying Chili's was 61.5, and the take-to-go sign was 9 square feet.
What about the chili on the awning? Did we?
You didn't allow it. You denied several of the signs you.
An apple.
Can I just ask, was this?
Prior to you.
Okay.
Now, one thing I want to say,
I brought it up.
I don't remember who had this one, but was the to-go sign like a sign that they deemed they had to have to find the to-go entrance? And that's why we approved it. Not to put another alternative word Chili's on the side of it. That's more what I'm wondering, if that
Yeah,
was the
because you said that was
justification.
the door that you had to drive to. I
Yeah,
like
so
control
because that's
the
where they
parking
wanted to enter,
spaces.
only the to-go people to go in that way to make it ease. That was why we had 3 building
Okay, so
mounted
what do they
signs.
want now?
Well, first of all, before we go any further, I will tell you that if I were your clerk at that point in time, I would recommend it not to allow a to-go sign on the building, because that is not business identification. That would be a directional sign you would put in the driveway or something.
Or on a parking sign.
Or on
That's
a
where lot
parking
of them are.
sign
Parking
somewhere,
for
but it would not be on the building.
idea, right.
So as a result, I wouldn't have recommended that you approve that. Secondly, they do want to take that sign down, because obviously now what they're trying to do is get internal visibility for Chili's from the Wegmans or the Walmart parking lot. So what they've asked for is, number one, the one major sign from Empire Boulevard was 61.5. For some technical reason, they've got to go to 62.5 to make it work properly instead of 61.5. They must have done some remeasuring. The original 22 square foot sign that you approved stays as it is. And what they're asking to do now is they're asking to take down the 9 square foot to-go sign and put up a normal Chili sign that is actually 30.85 square feet. So they're going from the approved 92.5 square feet to 114.85 square feet, which is still X number of feet less than what they're entitled to.
My thought is they haven't shown a reason why they need it. They showed a reason why they needed the to-go sign, but that's not the same reason why you need another chili sign on the building.
Would you like me to ask them to come in for another application?
I think, yeah, that's a big enough variance
Okay.
from what was granted that even if we are all were okay with it, I think they probably should come in. You know what I mean? It's
They're
not,
going smaller.
Yeah, well, and they're changing 2 signs, even though it's a foot. I mean, that's 2 signs that they're changing. Two.
All right, that's really all I need to know.
It's okay,
because
great.
I can get them in to do that. Cool. That's all. Oh, I'm sorry. What do you want to do with
the
it?
meeting minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we need to approve the April meeting minutes.
Okay.
Boy, okay. Anybody have any comments on the April meeting minutes?
I'm not sure I saw 'em.
I was gonna say, hardly knew.
Probably a while ago, right? You sent them before you sent the drop. You sent them separately, I think. You said, yeah, oh, no, we.
No, you sent them once and then
Yeah.
you said they're done. I'll send them now, but then you also sent them with the drop.
Okay.
Yeah,
You got 'em twice.
we have them. We have them. So
Do you want to hold off before you?
No,
make-
I'm comfortable making a motion to approve them. Anybody want to second them, or no
Yeah,
one shares my
second.
comfort?
I didn't know you made a motion. Make a motion.
So I made a motion to approve, Joe seconded it, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, so what's left on tabling? We have
We got those.
Salvatores and Kaganovich, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Aganovich actually did demonstrate to us that the Monroe County Health Department is supportive of the
see
septic
that.
system, so.
But now he does have to go in front of
He
planning board?
has to go to the planning board, and he's going to be making an application probably for the late July, early August meeting.
All right, so we still, now, because we tabled Burlington, so we're going to still have 4 tabled.
Yeah, that's okay, you're getting through them though as time provides it, so.
What does next month?
Yeah, what do we do?
Like 3 applications so far.
Actually, you know, yeoman's work tonight, boy, 9 o'clock with this agenda, and I know 2 canceled, but
You
still,
were
it's
doing
pretty
great,
good.
you were doing great up until the last 1.5.
There it goes.
All right, then we will stand adjourned until our next meeting, which is sometime in July,
July 20th.
July 20th. 4 days after the Who concert at CMAC.